Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush.
Yeah.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, all fall down. I've got evidence from one of my agricultural journals of how pigs are the happiest animals.
Pigs?
And how you can tell.
How?
Well, they grunt a lot. The happy ones oink, oink more.
What a load of old rubbish. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mites. There's also an American football game on, the Saints against the Panthers. We'll keep you updated on that. But it's time to say, at this juncture, a very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning to you, Mike. And what an exciting and thrilling end to the week it's going to be.
Indeed.
Over the next 3 hours.
Yes.
Including the quiz, of course, the Porky Quiz.
The Porky Quiz, yes.
Constantly put up these ridiculous propositions. I'll get 3 or 4 out of 10, and I constantly disappoint you.
3.5 out of 10 will be a good score.
I don't think so. Now,
have you ever had a hangover like Wayne Rooney's going to wake up to this morning when he wakes up and sees the back pages?
Yeah, well, I mean, he knows what's going on. I mean, he's in the middle of it, isn't he? And it is an ongoing nightmare for him, I totally agree. You're absolutely right. The back of this red-top newspaper, The Sun, it says, hangover, Wayne was told to go to bed by Southgate. New boss will strip him of captaincy. Lions' career at risk after boozy antics. And none of that surprising. Now, point is, I did read to you the statement that Wayne Rooney made captain of England.
Back in July, right?
And I will read it again.
Yes.
On July the 29th this year, he told Martin Samuel, the esteemed columnist of the Daily Mail,
yes,
the lads know they are playing for England. They must have discipline and respect for teammates, the manager and fans. They have to be able to be trusted. If there are issues, you send the player home. Couldn't be clearer.
Yeah.
And as you quite rightly pointed out in the same discussion, he's issued a statement of regret and apology and disappointment in himself.
Yes.
So the matter's over.
So he must have known that therefore he was in the wrong. Because we still get people tweeting, right? Here's one from David.
Yeah.
Hold the front page, man has drink after a hard day's work.
Yeah.
And it's not that simple.
Of course
He's not just had a drink after a hard day's work. He has, as you quite rightly pointed out, got many, many more responsibilities than all the other players put together because he's the captain.
Yeah.
He's wearing an England outfit, where thereby, in his work clothes, if you like, and he's out till 5 in the morning.
That's right.
I mean, so much has been said about this story now. I'm not even sure that there's much else we can say.
No.
But, I mean, I don't think anyone would be surprised, least of all him, that the captaincy is taken off him.
No, I totally agree. Neil Ashton's been leading the way on this story. We've had Neil in this studio many times.
Yeah.
He writes, Gareth Southgate will strip Wayne Rooney of the England captaincy after his boozy antics, and the FA are investigating claims Rooney defied Southgate by returning to a wedding party after being told by the interim coach to go to bed. That's a very serious issue, because if your boss tells you to do something and you disrespect your boss by ignoring his instructions, I'm afraid you're on the slippery slope out.
Yes.
And there can't be any other way of doing it. I mean, I totally agree with you. We've talked this to death now. The point is it's taken a step forward because a very established journalist who normally gets things absolutely right is predicting it's the end for Wayne Rooney at international level.
Yeah.
So we wait for that to unfold now.
Yeah, and also let's make the other point, which we did make with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy, which is, when somebody says, I don't understand why this is front page news.
Yes.
When something goes into a newspaper which then changes the course of that particular story, then it's obviously front page news because the people who have read it have acted upon it and changed the way that they view things.
Yeah, it's a huge staging post in the continuing story of international football in England.
Yeah.
And anybody who can't see that, frankly, is wearing the wrong sort of glasses. But anyway, there you go.
Exactly right. Now, I mean, it could, of course, be a bit of a blessing in disguise for Gareth Southgate, who said he's said to have wanted to. I mean, as Neil Ashton was on the TalkSport a little bit earlier, saying he wants to start with a kind of clean sheet. He wants to have a younger team. He doesn't want to have the issue of old stagers like Wayne Rooney sort of hanging around.
Yes.
So actually, this has acted as a catalyst for him to do what he probably wanted to do anyway, perhaps.
Yeah, I totally agree. And therefore, even at this stage now, Wayne Rooney will be thinking, I am coming to the end of my career, what happens next? Which is a position in which Steven Gerrard is in.
Steven Gerrard is coming back supposedly to Milton Keynes, according to loads of other people.
Don't you think this is absolutely fascinating?
Yes, I do.
I mean, can you honestly see Steven Gerrard tipping up at Milton Keynes, which is a nice town, by the way?
I don't think so.
It's the nearest thing we've got in this country to an American.
I don't think it's a nice town
American-style town because of the grid of the roads.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to the railway station there a few times, and I have to say, driving towards that railway station, going round roundabout after roundabout, and all this supposedly green kind of landscaped space.
Yeah.
I can't say I like it. It's not for me.
I've got some good memories of Milton Keynes.
Why?
Well, I went there to give an address to the Milton Keynes branch of the Everton Supporters Club.
What, you were actually invited to give an address to the Everton Supporters Club?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So it's not exactly the Oxford Union then, is it?
Well, it was a bit broader than Milton Keynes. There's a few towns around Milton Keynes.
Well, Milton Keynes and environs.
Yes, environs,
Fantastic.
yeah. I mean,
that makes all the difference.
Other towns, I think Bedford was included, you know what I mean?
Right. So Woburn?
Yeah, I think it might have been Woburn, I'm not sure. But I mean, we're not really talking here about sort of Barcelona or Madrid or anything like that.
I mean, how many fans do Everton have in the Milton Keynes
area? Quite a lot,
really?
actually. Because what happened was I managed to upset everybody, and I didn't mean to, So now this was near the start of the Rooney career.
Oh, yeah.
And so
how many people would you say were in attendance at this particular do?
I think it was about 150.
Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Did you get paid for it?
No, I did it free, and I'll tell you who was there.
What?
I'll tell you who. No, I did
That's
it free.
even more extraordinary.
I'll tell you who was there because it was an Everton nostalgia night. Brian LeBone.
Oh yeah,
who
I remember Brian LeBone.
Yeah, played for England in the 1970
Centre
World
half,
Cup.
right?
Yeah, Gordon West, Everton and England goalkeeper. Sadly, they're both dead now. I hope that wasn't the result of sharing a stage with me.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because we had a problem with Larry Lloyd the other day.
No, they are honestly.
All right, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
As long as you're sure.
Brian LeBone was called the last Corinthian because he was such a gentleman.
Oh, was he?
He pulled out of the 1966 England World Cup squad because he'd pledged to get married to his girlfriend and said she would have been very upset and told her family if he'd have pulled out and stayed in the squad.
So he pulled out of going?
He was in England in 66. He just pulled out of the squad.
Well, he pulled out of going to the
tournament. Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Yeah, and he would have played instead of Jack Charlton.
No, surely not.
Well, he would because in 1970 he was chosen ahead of Jack Charlton.
Jack Charlton by then was a bit older, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. But he
wouldn't have played ahead of Jack Charlton.
Well, something he would. But anyway, it's another story. So anyway, there I am in Milton Keynes, telling everybody, what great club Everton, all that kind of stuff. And as I say, it must have been because, let's see, Portugal was 2004, and then... so this must have been 2003. Rooney was still our player, definitely.
Right.
What happened was, the Everton club artist had made this great painting of Rooney. You know what I mean? It's going to be. They already had badges which said things like, England's youngest player, all this kind of stuff. And he'd already played for England against Australia. That was his debut at West Ham.
Which you'd seen.
Which I'd seen. I've been to, where Francis Jeffers scored for England that night. Has never played or scored for England since.
No.
But anyway, so the Everton artist had done this painting. There were Wayne Rooney shirts signed by Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
There was
Is that where you got your Wayne Rooney shirt?
No, I got them from loads of places. I was buying them all over the place.
Okay.
There was an England under. No, there wasn't an under-21 shirt because Wayne never played for the under-21.
How long is this story, by the way?
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Just start the show.
No, here. This is so relevant. You see, 'cause it's about Wayne Rooney, but we're telling a new story about Wayne Rooney.
Okay.
Not banging the drum on one that's been going around for 3 days.
Right, get on with it.
So what happens is, I thought, well, it's raising funds for the local Everton Supporters Club.
Yeah.
So every item that came up, Wayne Rooney shirt.
So were you doing the auction and everything?
Well, no, somebody else was doing the auction. I'd taken a back step by then. Every item that came in, Wayne Rooney boots, Wayne Rooney shirt, Wayne Rooney painting, Wayne Rooney pictures, Wayne Rooney montage. I bought every one.
Did you?
And I
must have made you a bit unpopular.
Well, this is the thing, you see. I outbid everybody.
Right.
So I just kept bidding up.
Was there any bladderation going on at this point?
Oh, yeah, loads of bladderation. But I kept bidding up. And in the end, I was sitting on the side of the stage with about 8 or 9 bits of Wayne Rooney memorabilia.
Right.
Nobody else had anything. Now, I thought, they'll be very pleased with me because I've got them lots of money.
Right.
In fact, they all started shouting at me and giving me abuse.
No doubt. Until you were thrown out. So you've been chased out of Milton Keynes.
Well, I gave some of it back.
Right.
I said, oh, no, you can have it. I only kept a couple of pieces. I gave the rest back.
Right.
But once again, in my pursuit of trying to help, I hindered.
Well, this is the trouble, you see, with you. You misjudge the situation once again.
Yeah, exactly.
And we might talk about that as well, because there will be stories that we know about of people who have got themselves into quite a bit of trouble due to being out till 5 in the morning or drinking a little bit too much more than they should have done. Yeah. Was this before or after he saved your life, by the way, Wayne Rooney?
That was before he saved my life. That was about 2. He made his debut, I think, 2002. That was 2003.
It was pretty much a yes or no answer.
It was before he saved my life.
Thank you.
The year before.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. Yeah. You recognise that?
It sounds a bit like 60s retro type stuff.
Well, in keeping with the theme of the quiz, John behind the glass thought that we might have a few sort of
good
television-related themes.
Excellent.
See what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
So if you recognise any of them, you have to own up,
right?
Because they might then have to be removed from the quiz.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Now I've got some terrible news to impart to you.
What's that?
I was reading through some of my pieces of literature a little bit earlier on.
Oh yes.
Not journals, of course, because they're your purview.
Yeah.
Do you know they're going to shut Joe Allen's?
Hang on, which one?
The one in Covent Garden.
But you see, can I just correct you, please? I'm not being funny here.
No.
It's actually called Joe Allen.
Yeah. So what?
Well, you said they're going to close Joe Allen's.
Yeah, they're going to close Joe Allen's.
Yeah.
Well, it's Joe Allen as a restaurant.
Yes.
But it's Joe Allen's because it's owned as Joe Allen. So it's a what is it? The genitive, isn't it?
It's you put an apostrophe at the end.
Yeah, apostrophe yes, Joe Allen's.
They're going to close Joe Allen's. Yeah, well, that would have to be. They're going to close Joe Allen's what? Doors?
They're going to close Joe Allen's.
No, they can't close Joe Allen's.
Yes,
it doesn't exist. They can close Joe Allen.
They're going to close Joe Allen's.
No, it's a mistake a lot of people make. It's called Joe Allen.
It's not a mistake.
Allen.
Don't you care that they're going to close down your favourite restaurant?
Well, I want to know why. Why are they closing it down?
Because Robert De Niro's bought the entire block and he's going to build a hotel there.
No.
I'm not joking.
I knew he was planning on building a hotel in London. No, I can't believe this.
This is true.
How do you know this?
Well, story was in the Evening Standard and I've spoken to a couple of people today.
Where is it? I want to see it.
Well, I'll show it to you. But I've spoken to a couple of people who are in the know, and they say there's absolutely no way they can get out of it. And what they're going to have to now try and do is find a similar site somewhere nearby where they can reopen Joe Allen, the restaurant.
Yeah.
And try and replicate precisely what they had as that basement feel, the American-style bar, the wooden tables,
the gingham
tablecloths, and
oh
all
my
of that.
God, the bar where you can stand there and drink shots all night.
Yeah, De Niro's hotel is going to be called the Wellington, and it's going to be a boutique hotel, very nice, very pleasant.
Well,
very
this is
sort
not
of,
good.
I know.
like Robert De Niro. What was his most famous role? Was it The Deer Hunter?
Well, we were talking about it last night, weren't we? Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very disappointed with this.
Martin Scorsese's birthday.
And I tell you what, when you try and replicate something, it's never the same.
It will never be the same.
Have you ever been to the Cavern as it is today?
I never was
Liverpool?
I was never in either the old one or the new one.
Well, I was never in the old one because I was too young. But the new one is a replication of the old one, but it's not. It's not real. Not real.
No,
I'm very disappointed about that.
It's going to be terrible news, isn't it?
Because
you literally cannot do anything. Here's the story here. Look, actors dismay, and all sorts of actors are getting up in arms about it.
Well, I'm very upset because if you go in there and look at the pictures on the walls, right, some of the most famous. Yeah, here, look. Let me see. Judi Dench picture on the wall. Sir Trevor Nunn, the legendary international.
Well, we were in there one night, and Ian McKellen was there, wasn't
thespian.
he? Do you remember?
Ian McKellen was there when we were there one night. Lee Lawson, who's Lee Lawson? That's Twiggy's husband, isn't it?
I think so.
I went to a funeral of Twiggy's husband once.
Well, it wasn't him, obviously.
No, it probably wasn't, no. But remember, a previous husband dropped dead in a McDonald's on 3rd Avenue.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was a bit of a sort of, he drank a lot and didn't behave himself properly. And no, we were in Joe Allen. We were in, not Joe Allen, we were in Joe Allen. We were in...
Where were you?
In our favourite bar in New York.
What, Costello's?
Costello's.
Yeah, you forgot the name of Costello's.
I did, and the phone rang.
God's sake.
In the phone booth.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, the bar emptied in seconds. And Twiggy's first husband, whose name I now can't remember, collapsed and died while he was buying his daughter, their daughter, a McDonald's takeaway. Yeah.
Right.
He just collapsed and
Why
died.
are you laughing?
Well, I'm not laughing.
It's not very funny.
No. But what
it's a shocking story.
Yeah, but anyway, so we'll race down there, and he's still in there. It's stiff, and it was a shocking moment. And
so you had to interrupt your drinking for a few minutes to go and find out what was going on.
Absolutely, but what a breaking story! And it was only about sort of 8, 9 o'clock at night, so it made the papers. Sort of the last editions and all that kind of stuff. And then about 10 days later, we all had to pile off up to somewhere in New York State, where they were going to bury him.
Right.
And it was December, and when we got there, the weather was quite nice. It was quite sort of.
So the ground wasn't frozen?
Well, no, the ground was frozen. Well, we didn't know that then.
Right.
It was cold, but it was bright, and there was no snow.
Yes.
Anyway, Martin Dunn went on to be like a legend in Fleet Street and in the American press.
Yes.
Editor of the Daily News.
He ended up being the publisher of the Daily News.
Publisher of the Daily News, absolutely right. Yeah. He went to huge heights in our profession. He was a reporter on one of the tabloids there then, and I was with the Express, obviously.
Yes.
And we said, it's not happening for 2 or 3 hours. We got up here too early. It's going to have some lunch and we'll come back.
Yeah.
So we go off and find some bar. We had some lunch. And as we came out to come back,
Yeah.
there was 6 inches of snow on the ground. We hadn't noticed it started snowing.
Really? You hadn't noticed?
No, I hadn't
How
noticed.
did you not noticed?
Well, we were in the bar having lunch, and we hadn't really noticed.
How many hours were you in there?
Well, about 3. And so we came out, and we had a hell of a job getting back
I'm not surprised.
to this funeral.
I'm surprised you had a job finding your car.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then we got to the chapel and all this, right? And then, eventually it did happen. There weren't many people there because it was terrible. And then the vicar announced that due to the fact that we've only just discovered this morning there is permafrost in the ground, right?
Yes.
We are unable
Unable to actually dig the hole.
to inter, our comrade, or
Right.
what do they call
Loved
him?
one.
Our loved one.
Yeah.
Whose name I can't even remember, but
No.
I'll find out in a minute.
You're doing him a great service by telling the story.
Yeah, and would you all mind coming back in spring? Because we're going to store him in the chapel until the ground gets a bit softer and we can bring in a
Dear God.
JCB digger to
Yeah.
dig the hole.
That's shocking, isn't it? Absolutely shocking.
Wasn't a great funeral.
James says, come on, Porky,
Yeah.
get on with it. 10 minutes wasted as usual by Porky on Rooney, Milton Keynes
Yeah.
and himself.
Yeah, hang on. We're talking about Joe Allen now.
We're talking about Joe Allen, yeah. So here's a quote from Dame Harriet Walker,
Yes.
Walter, who plays Clementine Churchill
Yes.
in the Netflix production The Crown. This is
Yes.
the thing I told you you'd like.
Yes.
She says it will be a big loss to London theatre life.
You will.
My first visit to Joe's was in December 1980, the last night of Trevor Nunn's RSC epic Nicholas Nickleby, and I've been going there ever since.
Yeah.
Joe's London was reassuringly similar in decor and atmosphere to Joe's in New York. Did you ever go to Joe Allen's in New York?
Where is it?
It's up in the 50s, I think.
No, I don't think I ever did, actually.
Didn't you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think
no.
I did, which was kind of familiar. Yeah, they based it on that, basically.
Yes, they did, yeah. Oh, it's terrible. It says, it has been a late-night home for West End stars, winding down after performances for almost 40 years. But Joe Allen, the US-style diner that pulled in more A-listers than any other London venue during its 80s and 90s heyday, could soon be leaving its famous location in Exeter Street. That is shocking.
Now, how about this? From Dame Joan Collins' husband. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Whose name is Percy Gibson.
Percy, yeah.
This represents a milestone in West End theatrical history. Joe Allen's, he says, was the place to congregate with cast and crew for a well-deserved libation.
Yeah.
West End lights will shine just a little dimmer.
They certainly will. That's shocking news.
I'll tell you what I noticed last night, actually. I forgot
Yes.
to mention. As I was on my way home from my early dinner with the birthday girl,
Oh, yes.
I noticed that all the Christmas lights have gone up. All
they?
in the Strand, all the Christmas lights already.
It's very early, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I mean, what's the date here? November the 18th.
It's not. It's more than a month till Christmas.
It is more than a month till Christmas. You're absolutely right. Well, that's
About
all.
a month until we played a garage course, the 17th of December.
17th of December, yeah, that's right. Tickets going very fast indeed. Now, listen, what do I have in my hand here?
I don't know. I can't see your hand. You have a copy of the Two Mics DVD.
Yes.
Very good.
A box of them came into TalkSport Towers today.
Excellent.
And so it's a big and lucky day for
It
a
is.
lot of TalkSport people.
It is.
who
Well, a
get-
lot of people have already received them, haven't they, out in the big wide
Oh,
world?
yeah. But we're going to allow them to play it in-house tomorrow.
Ah.
So everybody can see it. Isn't that good?
That is good, yes. Very generous of
excellent,
you.
yes.
I didn't realise you were giving away so many of them.
I'm not giving them away.
Oh, okay,
We don't
well,
give them
that's-
away. People buy them.
Oh, good,
and,
okay.
It'd be wrong of
There's
us to
been a
go
lot of
around
orders. There's been a lot
giving
of
them away.
orders, isn't there?
A lot of
Yeah.
orders. I was down at the distribution centre today. By the way, the T-shirts in medium and large have arrived.
Oh,
so
good.
if you're after one of those and you ordered
Yeah,
it,
I've
you
been
haven't
busy
got
today,
it.
haven't you?
Yeah, you'll get it soon. And I went to see the distribution centre, and there's 6 girls there who are packing these into envelopes and literally dispatching them into
Literally dispatching them.
onto a belt, which then takes
A
them
belt?
to the post office.
My
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Sounds like something like Heath Robinson.
It is. Well, no, it's not. It's very efficient, actually.
Yeah.
And they're going out
Well,
by
it's
the
not that
hundreds.
efficient. They sent out the wrong ones last week.
Well, that was my fault for
Okay.
not telling them.
That was your fault.
It was.
It's astonishing, this. Right,
Yeah.
look at this. I've got from Summers. He said, can you clip that, please? Porky saying he did something for free. He does have a heart after all.
Well,
You're now starting to say you've actually made some mistakes and things are your fault.
Well, yeah, I know.
What's
these
got
things
into
happen. Now, listen, I want to know about the mistake you made when you got bladder eyes. You know, poor old Wayne Rooney's now been hauled over the coals.
Yeah.
And it seems that, the source of all evil in the Swan was an excess of bladderation
Yes.
fluid. And it's happened to us all.
Well, it has. I mean, luckily for me,
Yeah.
I've always been very fortunate in life.
What, able to recover, you mean?
In the sense that, things that could have gone horribly wrong have somehow righted themselves, right?
You don't think that your marital problems over the years could have in any way have been affected by
Well,
lack
not really.
of decision-making process due
No.
to excess bladderation?
No, if anything, the decision-making process was heightened
Yes.
by bladderation. And
Yes.
decisions were made, which I could not say I really regretted, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But I'll tell you one work-related one, if you like, which was when I was
go on.
living in New York. And
Yeah.
I was working. I was being a freelance, but I was stringing for a lot of different papers.
Right.
And just got working with the Sunday Times, which I was
Yes.
very pleased about,
Yes, yes.
And I used to work with various people there, some of them on the foreign desk, some of them on the news desk,
Yeah.
and sometimes just individual reporters who would
Yes.
bring me up and say, can you check this out for me?
Yes.
And one particular night, in New York. There was a couple of people were visiting from out of town or something, and it was a big party night. Yeah. Anyway, all I remember is it ended up with me walking out of Eamon Duran's at about 8:30 in the morning, having been there all night.
Wow.
From about sort of 8 o'clock at night, all the way in Costello's.
Doesn't make you a bad person, providing you didn't miss any stories the next day.
Doesn't make you a bad person at all. No. However, I was pretty knackered when I got home.
Yes.
And basically, I filed a couple of quick stories to the daily paper that I was working with, and they were happy.
Yes.
And then I thought, best thing for me to do now is have a bit of a sleep.
Yes.
I'll put my answering machine on. If anybody calls me, basically, I will, just get the messages and call them back later on. So that seemed like a perfectly fine thing.
Yes.
I woke up, I checked, there was 2 or 3 messages. I went about my business, did those stories. Everything was fine until the next day when I got a call from this guy called Steve somebody. I can't remember his last name. He was a South African guy.
And where was he from?
He was from the Sunday Times.
Oh.
And he went, hi, Mike, how's it all going? I said, yeah, going very well. And as he started talking to me, I realised that he thought that he'd had some conversation with me the day before, which I didn't recognise.
I see.
So I was desperately
So he had a conversation, but you were unaware of it, yes.
Yeah, well, it would seem so, yeah. And he started talking on about, and he started saying things like, how's the story coming along, how's it going? And I'm going, it's coming along.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what he was talking about.
Oh, exactly, that's the problem,
I was desperately trying to get him to, give me a clue.
That's right.
But this conversation went on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he would not tell me.
Right.
He just assumed I knew.
Yeah.
So I kept
Couldn't you give him like a clever little hint and say things like, what do you think the main aspects of this are? From your end.
Yeah, I never thought of that, to be honest.
Exactly,
But I couldn't anyway. I tried lots of different ways of getting him to tell me what the story was about. It turned out it was actually about the Atlanta child murders, because there were a lot of kids being murdered in Atlanta at that time.
Right, okay.
And it was like a serial killer on the loose.
So you were going to have to go to Atlanta?
Well, I was just going to have to prepare myself to possibly do that.
Yes.
But,
very hot in Atlanta.
It can be, but not in the winter so much. But anyway, so eventually I had to say, look, I'm terribly sorry, Steve. Yeah. Which story are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And he went, Mike, we talked about this yesterday. And I said, well, I know we did, but I mean,
I do a dozen stories a day.
Lots going. He said, and it was very clear then to him that I did not know what he was talking about, did not remember the conversation we'd had.
Right.
And I suddenly realised that what must have happened was the phone must have rung, and I must have been in half asleep mode, just answered it, instead of letting it go to the answering machine.
Oh, it wasn't during the mass bladderation
No. It was while I was asleep.
Oh, I see.
So I'd answered the phone in my sleep,
right,
effectively.
I see, yeah.
And had this conversation that I didn't remember.
Yeah,
right?
I see, yeah.
And he said, Mark, this is really, really terrible. This is terrible news, bad news. And so I'm thinking, no, I've blown it. I've completely blown my connection with the Sunday Times.
Sure.
And so it worried me for about 2 days.
Yeah.
I managed to catch up on the stuff. I sent him all the stuff over.
Yeah.
On the following Monday, he got fired.
Oh, really?
And I was like, literally dancing around the room.
Yeah, victory.
Because I thought, and I can't remember why he got fired, but he was fired. He's never been heard from again.
But you were the top of his blacklist at the time, because you'd... did you ever file the story?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah, I got a big byline.
Oh, yeah, so...
Because it was only like Thursday. I mean, we had a couple of days... Well, his problem was that he'd briefed me on this story.
And he thought that you'd ignored him.
And he thought that I'd just... No, because I couldn't explain it. I ended up having to say something like I'd been on some medication because I was having some wisdom teeth out.
Yeah. A lie, in fact.
Well, of course.
Well, you say, of course. I don't lie with impunity.
Yeah.
But
it's getting late, by the way.
Yeah, but
I time.
Yeah, I had a terrible situation.
Well, don't tell me now.
Yeah, I'll tell you in a sec.
You'll have to tell me in a second.
Yeah, will you?
Anyway, so that's my bladderation story. But luckily, I got away with it. Right. This is Talk Sport.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
You're saying nothing?
I'm not telling you whether I recognise that or not.
Why not?
Well, because, I think...
I haven't even seen the question.
Oh, yeah, that's what you say. I know what the gerrymandering process is here, mate. You play a few of those, and then if I recognise them, you take them out of the...
Absolutely not.
Out of the question, and if I don't recognise them...
I have no control over the question.
If I don't recognise them, you put them in. So I'm saying nothing.
Okay,
I'm saying absolutely nothing, okay?
Well, that'll be a change,
Playing my cards very close to my chest.
Can you try and say nothing for the next 5 minutes to see how we go?
Now, the bladderation story, which I was going to tell you about...
Oh, yeah, all right. Let me just read you a couple of quick tweets. James says, what a shambolic year 2016 has been for English football. Euro 16, disaster. Allardyce, shambles. Rooney, disgrace.
Well, it's not unusual in the sort of way that English football seems to totter and stagger from crisis to crisis. And it's, I do hate people all the time launching attacks on the FA. I think the guys before were, another FA mess up.
Well, the FA are not
FA
particularly good at things, are they, at the moment?
The FA have a massive job to do, and they look after the whole of the football pyramid or Christmas tree, whatever you want to call it. They don't look after it very well. They do look after it very well. It's a very difficult job.
2, 4, 5, 1, 6.
I'm telling you, you'd replace the FA with something. What would it be?
Your friend has quit, hasn't she?
Amanda has.
Have you found out what that's about yet?
No, because it's I know that she's got plans to do other things and all that kind of stuff, but that's entirely up to her. Right. Now, getting to the bladderation thing, right?
Yes.
There used to be a club round the back of Fleet Street, down beyond the Cheshire Cheese.
Uh-huh.
Remember the one I'm talking about?
Do you mean the one up in sort of Gough Square that way?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Do you know, you used to go there late?
No, I used to go to City Golf Club, which was down the other side of the street.
Yeah.
I used to go to Vagabonds, which was up by Holborn Circus.
Yeah, I know. That was the Mirror one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I went anywhere near Gough Square.
Yeah, we went to Gough Square, and Terry Manners and Roger, what's his name?
Watkins.
Watkins, that's right. Yeah, they were mostly the night team on the back bench, and I didn't work late usually because I was the news editor.
No, but you were probably just hanging around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd go downstairs into the Popinjay at about sort of 7:30, and on a good night I'd push off about 8:39. On a bad night I'd still be there the following morning, but not in the Popinjay, but in Fleet Street. You know what I mean?
Just in case something broke.
Yeah, but this night we went to this drinking club. I can't remember. A lot of people went there in those days. It was just a popular place.
Yeah,
to drink.
I don't remember ever going to one of them up there.
And I don't know what happened, but the next day when I got in, I suddenly found I'd acquired a new assistant news editor, and he was the laziest man in the office.
Oh, yeah.
It's John Burns.
Oh, yeah, I remember John Burns.
Yeah, I remember Johnny Burns.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he was.
Belfast.
Yeah, he's quite a nice guy, though.
A very nice guy, but he had the same principle as a lot of people in Fleet Street. I want the maximum reward for the minimum amount of effort,
Yes.
And a number of times I've seen Johnny sort of stagger into court cases, at 5 to 12, when he should have been there when it opened at 10 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
In fact, we did the Lord Mountbatten murder trial together in Dublin.
Okay.
Yeah, and he would just rely on a local freelancer to tell him what was going on and all that kind of stuff. So for some unknown reason, but he was a nice guy. You couldn't dislike him.
So how come he was appointed as your deputy?
Because I appointed him.
Oh, you appointed him?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like somebody else appointed him.
No, I'd forgotten I'd appointed him. This is the whole point. This is what I'm talking about. So we must have got him to drink late on. I think he was, sort of very cloudy memory about, not getting opportunities and all that kind of stuff. And, I should have said to him, but Johnny, you don't get opportunities because I regard you as the most idle reporter I've ever had on my staff, and I don't send you anywhere because you usually go and get drunk and don't really actually do anything, And then I must have had this brilliant sort of management.
So get him out off the road and bring him in on the desk.
Exactly, get him off the road, put him on the desk, he'll be on my left hand, I'll be able to discipline him and all that. Of course, he just got worse and worse. So I'd take him 4-hour lunches and all this kind of stuff. So in the end, I had to put him back on the road. But then he went and, to the old people in HR.
Well, he went to HR. Said constructive dismissal.
Yeah, constructive dismissal, and in the end, he just started paying him off and he disappeared.
I think he was still there when I came back from New York, though. He didn't last long, but I think he was there for a bit.
Somebody told me he's for the last couple of years, he's been a cab driver in Belfast.
Oh, really?
But that might not be true.
I don't know.
And if he is, he might even be listening to this show now. So if you're Johnny, hope you're well, mate. Hope it all goes well. and hope you got a few fares tonight.
Even though you've just called him the laziest journalist you've ever worked with. Which is saying something. Here's one from Becky. Says, all I remember about Milton Keynes was the concrete cows in the fields on the drive-in.
Yeah, I remember them.
I've never been a fan of New Town, she says.
Yeah, no, I remember those. Used to see them on the train going through. And by the way, they got a lot of stick for that, but I thought it was quite nice.
Okay.
They didn't have any normal cows, so they built concrete ones and painted them, and it was a form of art.
And William says, Milton Keynes is known for the Open University. Porky should come and do a course on loving cats.
Loving cats. Well, I tell you what. I told you about the cat bites the other night.
Cat bites, yes.
I had a lot of responses to that. Now, I tell you what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about, first of all, because I keep my eye on the economy. Do you think it will be a bumper Christmas? Because people will simply say, Brexit and all that. God knows what's going to happen next year. Let's go for it.
Well, do you know, I heard for the first time today a Christmas song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As I was in a place, and I said to the guy, I said, is it really? I said, it's just really when you're going to start playing it.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit
I said, it's unbelievable. But I told you the other day, I tried to get a meal in a restaurant on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the first 5 restaurants I called to go to take my daughter out for dinner didn't have a table till 11 o'clock at night.
Isn't it?
So certainly in London, and I know that's not always a good barometer of the rest of the country.
Yes.
There's going to be loads of money spent.
Well, I told you I went to look to buying a property as part of an investment portfolio.
Oh, yes.
And
because you need another one.
Well, it was a block of 88. I think I'm not sure if I've told this story on air. I know
yes,
told
you have.
Have I?
Yeah.
80 of them have been sold.
Well, probably 88 have been sold now.
Yeah, probably. And most of them are buy-to-let. And now, there's stories of the Chancellor wanting to cool down the buy-to-let market by putting more prohibitive clauses into raising mortgages for all that.
Well, I think you'll find that after our conversation about this yesterday,
yes,
a lot of people on Twitter have been supporting me in my take on it, which is that basically the buy-to-let market is screwing everything up for anyone who wants to buy a house and falsely inflating the price of housing. Well,
we have had that discussion long and hard. By the way, another one of those surveys come out which says that the best place now to live in Britain is no longer Devon and Cornwall, it's the Isle of Skye.
The Isle of Skye?
Now, who in their right mind would live in the Isle of Skye?
It's a very beautiful place.
I know it's very beautiful, and I am not for one moment denigrating the attractiveness of the Isle of Skye. What I'm saying is, you could only live in the Isle of Skye if you're retired, really.
I don't think so.
Well, what kind of business could you start in the Isle of Skye?
Well, you could run a restaurant. There's a Michelin-star restaurant up there.
Yeah, but if you're not a restaurateur, you can't.
No, but I mean, if you're not a restaurateur, or you could go and work in a restaurant, I suppose. You could run any kind of business that doesn't necessarily. All right. Say you were a writer.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You could write. You could go and live up there. I mean, lots of people do, and to be honest, one of the reasons Devon and Cornwall's probably not any longer as sort of desirable is because it's so far out of the way. Well, you probably get to London quicker from Skye than you can from Cornwall.
Well, I'm not sure about that. You can drive, but another reason why Devon and Cornwall's going down is because of what we just talked about. So many people now have second homes down there.
Right.
They say that local communities are disappearing. But no, what I was going to say about Skye is, I mean, even if I went and worked in a restaurant and all that, when you finished work, it's so small that, I mean, it's like living in a village, isn't it?
Well, it's quite a big island, actually, but it's got a lot of mountains on it.
That's what I mean.
And there's only Portree is the main town there, which is quite a nice little town. And there's a bit of fishing.
Yeah.
Look,
I think it's very beautiful. I'd love to go there for 2 or 3 days and take in the beauty and have a glass of whiskey.
And there's a
local
bridge now, which helps actually with the connection to the mainland.
That to me, detracted from it enormously.
Why?
Over the sea to
it's not
Skye.
over the bridge to Skye. Well, now it's over the bridge to Skye.
And
but it makes it a lot easier to get from one place to the other.
Yeah, but didn't Bonnie Prince Charlie sort of escape in a rowboat and all that?
Yeah, because there wasn't a bridge then.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. So I'm not that keen on that one. But anyway, what I was going to say was, what I tell you about was that I've had some information, from our friends in Washington about the Donald Trump inauguration plans.
Oh, yes.
Do you know who's going to run it?
Who?
The bloke who last ran one of his casinos.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they're going to have blackjack.
Yeah, that's
a bit of blackjack.
It says a team of Wall Street financiers and business tycoons have been put in charge of the festivities for the inauguration parties for new President Donald Trump on January the 20th. The roster includes powerful investors and hedge fund managers.
Right.
Get this. The owner of the New York Jets football team, 2 Texas businessmen, 2 casino magnates, and 2 former US ambassadors who are now property developers.
Yes, well, that makes sense.
The team will be The team will be headed by Thomas Barrett Jr., a private equity chief who served in the Reagan administration. Yeah, it's interesting.
Now, David says this. How about this? I knew a drinking club near Gough Square. It was Printers Club. We used to go there after Spurs midweek games in the 80s.
I think that was it. I think that was it. I think that could well have been it. And thank you for reminding me. It was a den of iniquity. People used to go in there, and it started attracting sort of not women of the night, but sort of Fleet Street groupies.
Yes.
Is that
well, the wine press was a bit like that.
It was, yeah, definitely, yeah. And
did you have plenty of shower cap activity?
Yeah, there was a bit of that, I have to say. And in fact, one guy who was in there one night, he was a sort of junior executive, so he's like my number 3 or something like that. You know what I mean? He was in fact found in an executive office at 3 a.m. with a young lady.
Executive refreshment,
horizontal refreshment, and he was found by the security guards.
Was he?
And the security guard...
In flagrante delicto.
Yeah, it was all of that, I'm afraid. It was quite involved, They were quite involved. Quite involved.
Were they on the floor?
No, they're on desk.
Oh, on the desk?
Well, no, the lady was on the desk.
She was on the desk?
Yes, that's right, yeah. And so what happened was, this guy, the security guy, had to write a report, because of this disgraceful behaviour.
Absolutely shocking, yeah.
But he was like a former military guy and he didn't like using any sort of like even suggestive language or bad language. So he used words like inappropriate behaviour and all that. So he got called in, by the head of security and said, well, what was inappropriate about it all and all this? And the only reason the guy kept his job was because this bloke was a bit of a Christian and refused to reveal exactly why he was so shocked. He had to take time off work.
It's not a good place to work if you're easily shocked. A Fleet Street newspaper office, I have to say.
Yeah.
Right, we've got lots more to do. We've got the Porky Quiz, of course, coming up a little bit later on. It's on TV history, basically, from 1936. Coming up next, though, Sophie Nicolaou is going to join us, looking ahead to the big game tomorrow, which is Manchester United against Arsenal.
Yes.
Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten. And that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That, of course, is a tune which we now use for one of our trails here at Talk Sport.
Do we?
Always look. What do you mean, do we?
No, I didn't know which trail.
Always look on the mic side of life.
Oh, the mic side of life.
We came in and recorded it. We came in and recorded it.
We did.
We might have to hear a bit of that later.
And it's very good.
It is very good.
But actually, I'm playing that in a different context because in one of my science journals, right?
You know we're going to talk to Sophie Nicolaou now, don't you?
Yeah. But I'll mention this very quickly and we'll come back to it.
Because she's waiting very patiently.
Sophie, I'll be with you 1 second.
Del Rey,
in one of my science journals, it says pessimists die 5 years earlier than optimists.
What have I been telling you?
Yeah, well,
I've said if you always think the worst is going to happen, the worst will happen. If you're always optimistic, like Sophie Nicolaou is about Arsenal every single year, then you will have a much happier life. Sophie, welcome back to the show.
Hey, boys.
Hi, Sophie.
Hilarious.
Yeah, well.
Hi, how are you?
Very well indeed, and all the better for having you on the show.
Well, what can you say?
All the better for hearing your dulcet tones as well. Although I'm very upset to hear about Joe Allen's. I've been away for a long time.
Yeah. Terrible, isn't it? Terrible.
It's so terrible. I think you guys should just do a show on nostalgia.
Yeah, well,
that's our whole shtick, Sophie. That's all we can remember.
It is, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Really, yeah. I got the marketing on that.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
I mean, it's a shocking thing because you know as well. I mean, it's like the Brown Derby or something. You can't just move it somewhere else and recreate it. It won't work, will it?
No, it won't, because it's about the location, feeling the footsteps.
Yeah.
It's been happening here in LA as well a lot. So,
yeah, exactly.
That's sad news.
It is shocking. Now, interesting that Porky should bring up optimism and pessimism just before we talk to you, because this is a time of year where you and I always have a very optimistic conversation, which can sometimes get more pessimistic as the new year kind of kicks in, do you know?
Yeah, it's that time of year where we play Manchester United, and the proof is always going to be in the February pudding for Arsenal, isn't it? Really, I think we all expect Arsenal to play well this time of year.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, that there definitely is a sense that this team has a bit more grit to it with the additions of Granit Xhaka and Mustafi, and I think that there's games we've played this year that ordinarily perhaps we would have lost in previous seasons. And so I think there's a little bit more mental toughness to us with the introduction of these players and also seeing players like Walcott step up and obviously the transition of Sanchez through the middle, I think, has really lifted the team in many, many ways, including Ozil.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, Sophie, there have been a few false dawns on this premise, haven't there, at Arsenal over the last few years. And Jose Mourinho, I mean, even if he's struggling now, he always has the ability to pull something out of the bag.
He does, and I actually think this is a really bad time to be playing Manchester United because the international break has given Mourinho a very good time to regroup, gather his thoughts, and he's in a situation that I think is actually going to help United going forward for the rest of the season and makes his decision about who his true starting 11 is. Not having Zlatan and not having Rooney potentially opens the door for Rashford to play up front, for Martial to get a start on the flanks, for Mata obviously to play his role. And so I actually think that Manchester United are coming into this game, with a Rashford up front, Martial on the wing, Mata, Pogba playing just behind Rashford, Herrera in the middle, Fellaini I think will probably play, but I think this is a really good opportunity for him to change the momentum of his team season, and some things have fallen into his lap. So going into this, Arsenal may seem like the favourite, but I think United have a tactical opportunity to maybe change the tide of the season that's been so far for them.
And also with Jose, he loves playing against Arsene Wenger, doesn't he? Because, I mean, of course, apart from notably, which Arsene Wenger made a point of saying today, we don't always lose to them. We have beaten them, he said in the press conference yesterday, which tells you that he's still you're slightly niggled by it because they've only ever done it in the Community Shield, So, I mean, Jose will love nothing more than to come to Emirates and have him come to Old Trafford and wind him up.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had that phenomenal result against them last October. This time last year, we beat them 3-0. We battered them that day. The question is about winning at Old Trafford. We haven't really done that since 2006, and so I think that's the challenge for Arsenal. It's always going to be mental. We know we've got talent. We know tactically we've got a good coach, but it's always, three factors, I think: consistency, fitness, and mental. And if Arsenal can really keep those three fundamentals intact this season, they've got as much chance as any team. I think everyone lauded Manchester City, including myself, way too soon this season. We've seen a transition at the top. I actually think the team to be most scared of right now is probably Chelsea. They're playing with the no one's expected anything of us attitude. So I think for Arsenal it's going to be mental, and especially against Mourinho. Although he's probably lost a little luster in the mind games because of his own antics with the press over the last year, I still think it's going to be a challenge for us just because it's him.
Yeah, the thing is, Sophie, I don't think Manchester United are going to be your major worry this season, and maybe even not next season. Liverpool now are emerging because they've already clobbered you this season, haven't they already? And they're going to emerge as
that's a bit harsh.
Well, if you know what I mean.
Not as bad as Everton got clobbered by Chelsea.
No, but they're going to be the barrier on your way to success this season without a shadow of a doubt, because their fluency and the fact that they play with a smile on their face is very reminiscent of Manchester United teams of the past.
He's really, Klopp has emulated his formula at Borussia Dortmund. I think that's one of the things everyone fell in love with Dortmund. Yep. The team always played with a smile on their face. They were energetic. Obviously, the fans are phenomenal. Liverpool Anfield is rejuvenated. The fans have got something to cheer about again. I was in the LA Galaxy dressing room a couple of weeks ago, and Steven Gerrard and I were having this conversation. He was talking about how much they're flying. People are enjoying watching Liverpool play, and they're probably one of the most fun teams to watch in Europe, I would say right now. I think Arsenal are not very far behind, and the two of them, I think, are really the shining beacon in the Premier League right now. The football hasn't been that great, but I think Liverpool and Arsenal are both playing football. I think if Arsenal and Liverpool play that game now that we played earlier in the season, the result might be a little bit different. I think Arsenal kicked themselves after that. And as you've seen, Mike, they've played much, much better since that day at the Emirates at the start of the season.
Sure. I mean, it is a very exciting...
Similar challenges.
Sorry, I was going to say, it is very exciting at the top of the table. Just while you're talking about Steven Gerrard there, were you surprised he came out and said that was it for him? And I was talking to one of our colleagues earlier in the week, Mark Donaldson, about Steven Gerrard. He hasn't really set the place on fire over there, has he? I mean, it hasn't really worked for him.
No, it was so adorable because when I had the conversation with him, we were kind of talking off the cuff, and we were talking about what we miss about home, and he said that, don't you just miss Sunday roast dinners? And you could really feel that he missed being at home, and so I think he's enjoyed the experience here. He tried something new. I think he was, he had some injury issues, a lot like Lampard did as well. But he handled himself really great here. He took and enjoyed the moments that he was able to kind of hang out and soak up the American culture. But I think he really missed being at home, and he misses. You could sense he really misses Saturday weekend football in England. Yeah. And I sense that when he comes back, no matter what he does, he's really going to get his teeth stuck into it, and he's going to enjoy it, and he's going to love being back. And I sense that from him.
And would you see perhaps
in England?
I don't know whether you've had a chance to see some of the stories here tonight and tomorrow morning's papers about Wayne Rooney. Looks like he might be losing the England captaincy. Looks like Gareth Southgate might be moving on from having players like him of his age in the team. Jose Mourinho may not pick him to start tomorrow against Arsenal. I mean, do you see Wayne Rooney following in his footsteps and coming out there? Would there be enough of a demand for someone like him?
He likes the lifestyle here. He comes here on vacation a lot. I think that he's going to have to play better. The league is much more competitive. Ask Gerrard and Lampard and Robbie Keane, all of them, in terms of the travel and what needs to go into playing here. It's not easy. It's difficult. If he comes, he's going to have to be super committed. And I kind of feel bad for him in a sense. Real quick, I just wanted to say something about him, because I think if he's not earning $300,000 a week, no one's giving him as hard a time as he is. If he's earning $40,000 a week and he's playing badly, people aren't really giving him a hard time. He's earning a lot of money, and I do think that he's being, we like to build people up and kick them down, and I would hate to see a similar scenario where here is someone who gave a lot to his country. He played when he was asked, and a lot of times through injury. And he hasn't made the best decisions sometimes. He's made some really poor decisions, but he's really tried over the last few. Biggest mistake was his boss told him to stay and go to bed, and he didn't. And I think we'd all be in trouble if our boss told us to do something and we didn't. Yeah. So I feel for him, but I also feel like he's being the dartboard just because of the amount of money he earns. And it's almost like, it's okay for Beckham to be earning a boatload of money, but why isn't it okay for Rooney to be earning a boatload of money?
You're so right, Sophie, but the point is you've got to be bright enough, like David Beckham is, to know that if you are a sparkling star in the sky, everybody wants to shoot you down. And Beckham was clever enough never to get caught out. And unfortunately, Wayne Rooney did.
Yeah, just the once. And he kind of wriggled out.
Well, I was about to say, we haven't even got official confirmation that he got caught out, have we?
Well, we don't really need it, do we?
Well, I think you do. The man's reputation's on the line.
Yeah, well, he threatened to sue and he didn't.
Well, he might still be thinking about it. Well,
yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. Anyway, so what do you see at the end of this weekend, Sophie? Because it's very tight at the top. You see, I think Liverpool's kind of golden run will come to a bit of an end, and I'm wondering if it might happen at Southampton.
Yeah, I think, Southampton have been playing really well. It's amazing they've created a system and people fit into their system, whether it's a new manager coming in, whether it's new players coming in. I think that, I feel like it's a bit of a banana skin game for Tottenham and for Liverpool this weekend. And I feel that, with Arsenal and Manchester United, it's a really good opportunity for Arsenal to kind of make up some points, to play a Manchester. I think if Arsenal don't beat this particular Manchester United team, that's when the questions will start. And we'll see how Liverpool cope.
Sophie, thank you very much indeed. We've got to leave it there because we are out of time, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Sophie.
This is Talk Sport with the two mics. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. And, of course, although this is the last show of the week for us on this particular slot, we'll be back on the warm-up tomorrow from 11 a.m.
Yes.
Which will be very exciting because, of course, the Arsenal game will kick off
during
our show.
Indeedy.
I believe.
Yeah, indeedy.
Which will be very exciting.
It will. Now, I was telling you about the pessimism.
Yes, you were, yes.
Now, I've got to tell you about this, and then we'll talk about other things which are not quite so pessimistic.
Indeed.
What happens is pessimists are twice as likely to die of heart disease as people who take a more balanced view. Now, this has come from a fantastic report from one of my scientific journals done at the Päijät-Häme Central Hospital in Finland.
Päijät-Häme?
Päijät-Häme.
Okay.
And it's conducted by some of the most renowned psychiatrists in the world, okay?
Uh-huh.
They followed 2,267 patients aged between 52 and 76 for 11 years. I mean, this is an extensive study. Extensive.
Well, I can believe that.
Okay.
But I've said this all along. I mean, you didn't have to have the people in Finland doing a study. I've always said to you that if you have a positive outlook on life, your life will generally be more positive.
But that's just a guess.
No, it's
You're
not.
just guessing.
It is not a guess.
It says, at the start, all the participants were asked how much they agreed with statements such as, if something can go wrong for me, it will.
Yes.
But they also put more upbeat mottos to them. By the end of the study, 121 patients had died from coronary heart disease.
By the end of the study?
By the end of the study.
Well, maybe they could conclude that actually answering questions on a study about pessimism actually could kill you.
It could be absolutely right. But 11 years, this study, remember, 11 years. Those who died and the survivors had scored roughly the same for optimism, but those who had died of CHD...
CHD? What's that?
Coronary heart disease, right?
Well, I don't know it's CHD.
Told you. Well,
I've never heard it called that.
Us in the heart business do, right?
Do you know it as that? I've never heard that acronym.
Of course I know it as
CHD.
that. CHD, coronary heart disease.
It sounds a bit like the CJD, doesn't it? Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, which was, of course, mad cow disease. CJD.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
That's got nothing to do with CHD, okay?
Easy to confuse the two.
But those who died of CHD were much more pessimistic than those who survived. The pessimists were about 120% more likely to die of the disease even after other risk factors were taken into account. Writing in BMC Public Health...
BMC?
Yes.
What's that?
British Medical Council.
British Medical Council, okay, right.
Do you know that either?
Well, how many acronyms are in this story?
BMC Public Health, the researchers said it could be that people who expected the worst were less likely to make efforts to improve their health. Now, it's all very well you saying, that just proves you've got to be optimistic about life. Supposing you can't be.
What do you mean you can't be optimistic?
Well, some people just have a rather depressing disposition about themselves,
yes,
okay?
Yeah.
Now, that's a mental condition.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's if people are genuinely depressed, then that is a medical condition, which is something that they have either acquired
but some
or
people
which they're suffering
are
from.
generally pessimistic. I mean, I'm actually...
You're quite a pessimistic person.
I am quite pessimistic because what I believe in is if you prepare for the worst, then you can do things about, you know...
It doesn't make you any happier, though, does it, when things for the worst don't actually happen and things for the better turn out?
No, but what does make me happy, knowing that I've averted crisis by good planning, future planning and getting things right.
Why, like what?
Well,
When was the last time you planned something?
Well, I plan things all the time to make sure that I'm ahead of the game.
Right.
It was once said of me that some people can see over the garden hedge, but Porky can see over the Pyrenees.
Well, I was going to say, I thought they were going to say you can't see over the garden hedge because the garden hedge is too tall, too big.
Hey, by the way, you won't believe this. What happened today was because I had a very short and secret mission day today.
Oh, yes.
I was able to grab a bit more spare time.
Oh, good.
I got my car washed for the first time in a few weeks.
Where did you take it for that?
I took it to Asda.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I took to Asda.
Okay.
And they do a great job there, the guys. They do a brilliant job.
Inside and out?
No, I won't allow them to do it inside.
What do you mean you won't allow them?
Well, those filthy rags they use to clean the inside of your car have been in somebody else's filthy car.
They're not filthy.
Yeah, they are.
It's called cleaning the car.
No. I won't have
so
anybody's...
how do you clean the inside then?
What I do is I take it home and I get my lemon kitchen spray and I get clean, fluffy kitchen
rags.
toweling.
Yeah.
No, not rags. Rags retain filth and germs.
Why don't you just use them once only?
I use the toweling.
Yeah, but the toweling can come off, though. It can leave fuzz behind.
No, not the stuff I use. It's good quality. And I clean the inside myself. And it smells beautiful and
but
it
what
looks
about
beautiful. The floor, that gets hoovered.
Hoovered?
Yeah.
By who?
My housekeeper.
Your housekeeper hoovers the floor?
She has honestly got a little special
Have
little
you got a
hoover.
Carvac?
Yeah, I've got a Carvac. Well, it's not a Carvac, it's a little hoover.
It's a hoover?
Yeah,
So
what
does she have to do? Drag the hoover down from the top of your block of flats?
No, it comes off
into the basement?
No, it comes off a charger, you
Does
idiot.
It?
And she
well,
goes
I didn't know
down.
you had a chargeless, cordless hoover.
I have. It's,
really?
It's like a long thing with a snout on the end, you know what I mean? I think it's designed to do stairs.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so,
Okay, which is bizarre because you don't have any.
I haven't got any stairs. You're right. Yeah, it's true. And she does that. But anyway, so I got it clean, which is great. Now then, something amazing happened. You'll say it's amazing. In Asda, I was doing my shopping.
You're doing shopping?
Yeah, doing shopping.
Oh, so what? You park the car with them, do a bit of shopping, come back, it's done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Right.
no, it's a brilliant.
Did
system.
you overpay them?
They wanted to charge me £7. I gave them 10.
Okay,
which I think is very
that's
fair.
all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's fair enough.
But anyway, for the first time in my life, I had to assist somebody reaching up for a packet of fish fingers because they were too short to get them themselves.
Really?
Yes.
Was it a woman?
It was a woman. It was a little
attractive
woman. Not really. She was quite an elderly woman, actually, to be honest. But I felt so good about it.
Did you?
She was.
Was it one of those freezer sections where they've got the sort of the cabinet above
freezer
the big...
section with the glass cabinet above, right?
Right. Okay.
And you have
so
to
she couldn't lean over it.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. So I saw her. What happened was. Poor woman. She picked up a packet from the freezer in front of her, in the cabinet,
in the cabinet thing,
and she took it out, and then she opened the glass cabinet above, and then she was using it as a stick to try and wave forward some fish fingers because they were running low. You know what I mean?
Desperate for fish fingers.
She must have been, yeah. Anyway, I spotted this, and immediately my, Good Samaritan buzz went off in my head, and I said, "Oh, hello, my love. Can I help you?" Oh, yeah, I can't. Leave it to me. So I stepped forward and I reached in and got 2 packets of fish fingers and I said, here we are. There you go. One of them was crushed on the edge. I said, don't take that one. That's damaged goods. Have this one, my dear. There you go. I'll take this other one.
Did she take exception to you
no, not
referring
at all.
to her in that way?
Not at all. She was extremely
condescending
grateful.
manner? What sort of age was she?
Oh, I think she was in her 60s,
Really?
to be honest. Yeah.
So you're kind of target area then.
Don't be ridiculous, you idiot. And I felt good about myself for the rest of the day.
That's
I have
a
to
ridiculously
say. No, I did.
Pointless thing to do.
No, it's not. No,
Well, I mean, it's very nice that you did it, but it's hardly heroic, is it?
Oh, I thought it was good.
It's hardly heroic.
No, I thought it was great.
On your travels around, did you get any fish fingers while you were there?
Yeah, I did.
Was it a packet of 10 or 12?
3 packets of 12.
12?
3 packets of 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, because we had this argument about the fish finger pyramid.
No, they were
bonus.
They were bonus packets.
Bonus packets. So 2 extra.
And I also got 3 tins of mushy peas. That's what I ate with them.
Is that what you had for dinner then?
I did actually. Yes.
And so did you happen to sashay past the cream section and see whether there was a shortage?
No, because I don't need cream at the moment. Right. I'm not into.
No, you think you should get some?
Not
in
into
case
clotted
it runs out.
cream. I don't think it's good for you. To be honest.
But you said there was going to be a cream shortage.
Well, there will be. There will be a cream shortage. I know that because I know the ins and outs of the dairy farming industry.
I see.
Anyway.
How about this from Derek in Pencoed?
The bog cleaner.
He says, Mike, Porky keeps going on about reading various journals, but the stories he talks about, I read about in the paper. So are all his journals newspapers? That's his question.
No. What happens is, Derek, bog cleaner man.
Pencoed, you plonker.
Yeah, that's right, from Pencoed. What happens is that an awful lot of stories that appear in newspapers come from scientific journals. I just happened to get them first, that's all. I mean, we used to spend our life, didn't we, scouring through these journals in America in particular, right. And, the New England Journal of Science and all that kind of stuff.
Medicine,
that's the one, yeah. And that's where a lot of them come from. I'm just ahead of the game, pal.
Is that right?
And some of them I even, spot on the internet because, I'm smarter than the average bear, to be honest.
Yeah, well, so you keep saying.
Yes.
Now, speaking of those journals, right, I'm going to tell you about Time Magazine's 100 most influential photos ever taken, coming up next.
Well, I know what the most influential one was.
What?
The little girl running down the street in Vietnam after being hit by napalm.
Napalm. I haven't seen that one in here yet, but I'm still looking for it. Yeah. But we'll be talking about that because this was sent in to us from Becky in New Zealand.
Oh, right.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics.
Now then, TalkSport is inviting you to an exclusive motor racing experience, and it's thanks to Renault Pro Plus. Now, the Weekend Sports Breakfast is going behind the scenes to broadcast live from the headquarters of the Renault Sport Formula One team next Sunday. That's on the 27th of November, and you could be there too.
Put yourself in pole position, then you and a friend will join the show and take on racing challenges and stay for the afternoon to watch the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final race in this fascinating Formula One season. Not only that, we will provide accommodation and a travel fund. We'll send you home with a fantastic PS4 racing bundle, and there's a breathtaking Formula Renault track day up for grabs.
That's right. Take part in the qualifying session for this brilliant competition in the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Tony Cascarino from 7 o'clock tomorrow, that's Saturday, and on Sunday. And it's all thanks to Renault Pro Plus, official logistics partner of Renault Sport Formula One.
Gavin has texted in, or tweeted rather, at the two mics. He says, currently working nights in Tesco Belfast. Cream shelves are buckling under the weight. There's no shortage here.
Yes, well, maybe Belfast hasn't caught up with the rest of the world yet. Belfast is a fine place, but you sometimes find that when the UK coughs, Belfast sneezes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And Derek, Pencoed has answered your rather unfortunate naming of him as the bog cleaner. He says, Mike, Porky always calls me a bog cleaner, so by being called Porky, does that make his housekeeper a sty cleaner?
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you've been giving him grief for the best part of 2 years now.
Well, I'm not giving him grief. The point is, I mean, I think he does actually, within the terms of his profession, clean bathrooms.
Well, he cleans a great many things.
Yeah.
Not just bathrooms. Now, how about this from Bill, who knows you very well? He says, if it had been the last 2 packets of fish fingers, MG, Porky would have launched the old lady into the freezer to get them. Which I think is probably right.
Well, no, I wouldn't have done that. I'm not that sort of person at all.
Now, I'm bringing you this Time Magazine thing. It's a project they've done about the 100 most influential photos ever taken.
Right.
And thanks to Becky for sending this in. She basically says, none of Mr. Parry, but the Beatles did make the top 100. Now, I haven't found which Beatles picture yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you a couple of the pictures that are in there.
Okay.
And see whether you recognise them. Do you remember the famous 2014 Oscar selfie? which was taken by, I think it was taken by Bradley Cooper, but everybody who was anybody was in it.
Yes,
Ellen
I do.
DeGeneres, Meryl Streep, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts.
I do.
Kevin Spacey.
I do.
At the back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to show you some of these as we go.
Yeah,
but you remember that one?
Incredible, yes.
Now, other pictures, none of these I think will probably surprise you too much. The famous 1945 flag raising at Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
You know, with
that
which was turned into a statue.
The US Marines.
That's right.
That's right, yes.
And that's in there. Also, so is
framed. In fact, that prompted the film that John Wayne starred in. The Shores of Iwo Jima. What was it called?
The Shores of Iwo Jima? Something else of Iwo Jima.
There's something of Iwo Jima. Was it the shores, the waves, the beaches?
Yeah.
What was it called?
I can't remember.
Yeah, something of it. John will know.
I'm not as big of a John Wayne movie buff as you.
We have a man on our staff who's a film buff and expert. He'll tell me in a minute.
A filmmaker, no doubt.
Yeah, that's right.
It's frame 313 of the amateur 8mm film shot by Abraham Zapruder.
Oh, yeah.
Remember what that was?
Would that be something to do with the grassy knoll?
It was indeed. That was the John
assassination?
Kennedy's assassination picture, which Life magazine held that frame back at the time because it was notorious in its absence for showing the bullet on impact with Kennedy's head, which is a pretty horrible picture.
Yeah.
Also, do you remember the Vanity Fair cover shot by Annie Leibovitz of Demi Moore?
Yes, I do.
7 months pregnant, which was a groundbreaking picture at the time.
They photographed her completely naked, but from a position where it wasn't offensive, but she had her hand curled under her baby bump, as though she was holding the baby in her tummy.
Exactly. Now, do you remember the 1995 picture from the Hubble telescope, which was that amazing picture in space, which made it look like sort of heaven?
And wasn't that the start of the Big Bang, allegedly?
Well, I don't know if it was the start of the Big Bang, but
it
was the clearest picture that we'd ever seen of something happening in space. I don't think anyone was particularly
what was supposed to be happening, by the way?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they...
No, I think it was... I mean...
Well, they might have theorised that it could have been the Big Bang, but I don't think they knew that it was the Big Bang, because you can't go that far back in time.
No, but didn't it take about 40,000 years to get here or something?
Well, no, it was taken in 95.
Yeah,
it's not 40,000 years, is it?
No. I know the picture was taken in 95, but the actual action that it was photographing took so long to get here from outer space. It might have been 40,000 years ago.
Well, the picture became known as the Pillars of Creation.
Yes, right.
But I think that was more...
you see, that's why I think it was the Big Bang.
But I think that was more poetic license than anything else. The famous picture from Times Square, VJ Day,
that was
where the sailor kissing
the girl.
Which is a great picture.
She died about 3 months ago.
Did she?
The actual lady in that picture.
Did
she? The sailor died, I don't know, 20 years later, but she only died about 3 months ago.
Fantastic picture.
She was aged about 97, I think.
You'll remember, of course, the 1968 Olympics picture, the Black Power salute.
Yeah, that was Tommy Smith.
That one's in there.
Yeah.
And also, the one that I don't remember particularly well is this one here, picture of a baby. Do you remember that?
Is that Louise Brown?
It is not Louise Brown. What it is the first picture ever taken on a camera phone.
Really?
And it was the daughter of a guy called Philip Kahn, who was an inventor, taken in Santa Cruz at the Sutter Maternity Clinic.
Wow.
And it was the first picture, as far as anyone knows, ever taken on a camera phone.
Golly, because Louise Brown, the baby I mentioned, was the first test tube baby, wasn't
That's
she?
right.
Yes.
Exactly right. So, I mean, it's quite a fascinating thing. It's Time magazine. I
totally agree.
Retweet it out because you might want to go through. There's 100 pictures. We're not going to go through all of them, obviously. But quite fascinating stuff.
Very fascinating.
Now, I should tell you that at the moment, the game between the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers is a stalemate of 3 apiece.
Yeah, but nobody cares. So
lots of people do care because there's a lot more of those games to come, of course, here, aren't there, this season?
I wouldn't worry about it, mate.
Now, what about Everton? We haven't talked about Bobcat Bob yet.
Well,
he's going up to Goodison Park.
Yeah, he is, and so far he's had 4 defeats and 1 draw, and that's not a good record. And
they're very close to relegation period, aren't they?
Some are saying that should he get bashed up at Everton, which I hope will happen. I'm sorry, Bob, but I do want Everton to regain their winning ways after the shocking result at Chelsea where they lost 5-0.
Yeah.
So I want Everton to win by 3 goals. So I want to win 3-0 or 4-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
That might preempt a swift exit for Bobcat Bob.
Yep.
Bob, you got to get on your radar.
Now, apparently, which the Sands of Iwo Jima is the movie you're talking about.
Sands, that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
Not
Sands
the beaches of Iwo Jima.
No, Sands.
Or the tides of Iwo Jima. Or the waves of Iwo Jima.
That's right. Talking about that picture about the sailor in Times Square, right? That reminded me of something I was going to tell you about. In one of my journals, there was some pictures from that era, right? I know that would obviously have been 1945 or 46. I think it was VJ Day,
yes.
yeah, 1946.
Yeah.
Well, around about that time, they were inventing vending machines in America for cigarettes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, I think you've just had some cigarettes, haven't you? Come back from America or something?
No, I've come from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah, okay, yeah. God knows what they're full of.
Anyway. No, they're fine. I mean, they're a lot cheaper, is why you get them.
Yeah. Anyway, the point of my story is, did you know? Because we all used to use vending machines, didn't we? Particularly in New York, every bar had
every bar had them.
Every bar.
But also, they did not ban them in this country because you used to be able to get vending machines in this country too, because it was quite hard to buy cigarettes after a certain time of night.
That's
and the
right.
pub was about the only place you could get them.
Yes, that's right.
And you'd put some ludicrous amount of money in and only get a packet of like 15.
That's right, yeah. But I mean, that all went with the ban on smoking in pubs, didn't it? You know, they did keep machines for a while, so you could at least go outside. But I haven't seen a vending machine.
No, I think they've been banned because I think it was part of their, sort of campaign to try and stop kids from buying.
Oh, was it? I see. Yeah. Okay, yeah. But in America, I remember, golly, you'd put what would it be like? $4.
I think it was $4 or $5 at the time.
Yeah, that's right. In single coins, like in quarters and all that.
Well,
you'd
have them in quarters, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway.
Also in those days, you'd have a lot of quarters in your pocket.
Yeah, you would.
You'd quite often use them in a payphone.
Yeah, that's right. You would actually. Yeah, but anyway, I think this was 1931, so it's going back a bit before. They started a vending machine that when you put your money in and a lot of sort of whirring and tapping happened,
right.
And then this door opened, right? So you couldn't actually see the packets of cigarettes in those days. And what happened what was there when you opened the door was a pre-lit cigarette.
What? Really?
A pre-lit cigarette in a vending machine.
So you just get one?
You got one, yes. Seriously.
How bizarre.
Yeah. And
how does the thing not go up in smoke?
I don't know, but I mean, it obviously didn't last because you and I've never come across one in our lifetime. But you put your money in.
Right.
So in those days, it might have been a dime, or something like that, or a cent, 5 cents or something like that.
Probably 1 cent.
Yeah, 1 cent, something like that. And this door opens, and there is actually a cigarette already lit, which you just took out. So you didn't need a lighter.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mind you, not as ridiculous as that hotel we stayed in Whitley Bay, which actually had a vending machine that dispensed beer.
For drink. Yeah.
I never seen anything like that.
Well,
I've never seen that before or since. I don't expect to ever see it again.
Well, the guy said he was trying to get rid of all the stag parties and all that, so he didn't want to make it.
I mean, I remember going to a hotel
Yeah.
in Holborn, which I think is now a Marriott or a Hilton or something like that. And a friend of mine was staying there, and they had a miniatures machine.
Oh right,
So you could, so it wasn't like the vending machine with beer in it, but you could buy, say, a miniature of whiskey or a miniature of vodka.
Right.
And we emptied it one night because it was the only place you could get a drink after sort of 1 o'clock in the morning.
Do you see how desperate you've been sometimes?
Well, not really. No, not really. It was.
Now listen,
it was a good night. Actually.
Listen, are you up to speed with this amazingly developing story about Van Gogh's missing sketchbook?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know about up to speed. Certainly, I've followed the fact that it was discovered.
Yeah.
I've then followed the fact that people are saying it's not actually his.
Well, it looks like it to me. I mean, I've studied
Van Gogh's. It looks like it to you?
Well, I've studied Van Gogh's paintings and his sketches all my life. And it looks very, very Van Goghish to me.
Van Goghish?
Yeah.
And what do you know about Van Gogh exactly?
Well, I know an awful lot about Van Gogh, Cut his ear off, didn't he?
He did.
And but look, I'm going to show you the first image that you see when you turn the cover of the sketchbook.
Yeah.
And if that's not Van Gogh, I don't know what is. Look at that.
Yeah, but don't you know that all these guys...
I recovered that today and printed it out.
Yeah, but all these guys have, people who copy their style. They have people who impersonate them because, of course, if you can fake a Van Gogh or a Van Gogh, as they call it in America, you can make millions.
Yeah.
You can make absolute millions. So if the experts are saying we're not certain that it's actually his sketchbook, I don't see how you can be so certain that it is.
Well, within minutes of the announcement of the book, the sketches were labelled as imitations by Amsterdam's Van Gogh Museum, which is considered the preeminent authority on his work.
Well, there you are.
The museum described the sketchbook survival tale as highly improbable and claimed that the drawings contained topographical errors. So that means like pen strokes that Van Gogh would not have put onto the image. Yeah. The sketches were also executed in an ink not associated with Van Gogh, said the museum's expert. So he used a particular ink that this one wasn't.
Yeah, so in fact, it seems I'm more up to speed on this story than you are.
The museum concluded that the drawing style of the maker of the drawings in the Lost Arley's sketchbook is, in the opinion of their experts, monotonous, clumsy and spiritless.
Really?
Oh, dear.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Well, I don't think it's his then, is it? It would seem very unlikely.
Well, some are still sticking to it, saying it is him,
Well,
some of the
Van Gogh Museum, which is the foremost authority on his works, says it's not, then I'm going with them.
It says here, actually.
Seen the time, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry about the time. This is important. It's culturally important.
Is it?
I mean, you and I have discussed this before, and you've made this point several times. In life, nobody cared about Van Gogh, OK? Is that amazing? But more than a century after his death, his art is at the centre of an almighty row. The discovery of a previously unknown Van Gogh sketchbook.
Why are you now saying Van Gogh? That's what they say in America.
Yeah, it was announced yesterday and hailed as the most revolutionary discovery in the entire history of his genre. Genre.
Thank you.
Except they call it his oeuvre.
His oeuvre.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sort of French word, isn't it?
Is it?
Same kind of thing.
65 reed pen sketches from the volatile last 2 years of the artist's life. The sketchbook is said to have slumbered in an outbuilding and cupboards in Provence for more than a century. Most recently said to have been owned by a simple French peasant woman who had no appreciation of art.
Peasant woman.
Yes.
So it sounds just up your street.
Yes.
This is Talk Sport. Sandra Lee's coming up next.
Excellent.
We are the Two Mics. There is a podcast coming out a little bit later on. We're back on the warm-up, of course, tomorrow from 11 o'clock ahead of that Manchester United-Arsenal game. Right now, though, I'm delighted to say it's time to welcome back to the airwaves Ms. Sandra Lee, who we haven't spoken to for quite some time. Sandra, a very, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you two chaps too, and thank you for having me back. And I have to say, you've just put a huge smile on my face. That was Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. That was one of my favourite shows as a kid.
Well,
there you
funny
go.
enough, we're doing the Porky Quiz later on in the show on the history of British television, so I don't know quite how well he's going to do. But you know, we've got lots to catch up on, I suppose, including the first story that Mr. Parry wants to ask you about. Yeah. Are you injecting yourself with any iron, I think is the point.
Well, apparently a lot of women in Australia are, mostly women, because they suffer an iron deficiency, and the fastest way to sort of recover from an iron deficiency is apparently not to have any oral tablets or anything like that. It's to have an injection of iron put in straight into your bloodstream.
Well, you're absolutely right, Sandra, because what's happened is some guys just opened up in Harley Street, the world-famous, medical emporium in London here, and when asked where this idea came from, the founder of the UK's first outpatient iron clinic, which opened in Harley Street last month, he said he's modelled it on the industry, and he calls it an industry in Australia. Apparently, some of your friends might be at it, getting iron injected into their arms and all this, but they're not telling you about it because they don't want you to think that they're in some way sort of weird, weak, or different.
Well, that's right. And apparently there's some 30,000 women around the country who are having it done regularly, which is a surprise to me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Why don't they just eat cans of sardines? I mean, what's the iron supposed to be doing for them?
Well, it makes them, apparently one of the major side effects of an iron deficiency is exhaustion and feeling really sort of weak. So the doctors say that the best way to get over that is to have the iron infused, and you'll be bouncing around like a jack-in-the-box in no time.
Well, exactly.
Now, sounds a bit dodgy to me.
Well, it sounds a bit dodgy to me, Sandra, particularly as we've known you for many years, and you've always been a jack-in-the-box without the iron, So God knows what would happen. You would be like Skippy if you got yourself injected with iron. Bouncing around there in all sorts of ways.
Maybe it would work for you, though, because you get exhausted, don't you, with all this work you're always doing, about 5 different jobs a day.
Well, actually, that's a good point, Sandra. I can tell you, but I can't tell you too much about it, that I've been summoned for jury duty over here in England.
I thought it was a secret.
Well, I mean, you can say that you're doing jury duty. You can't say where it is. Well, you can't say where it is. Right. Is that the same in Australia?
Where is it?
Sorry? I'm not telling you. I can't tell you. If I told you, I'd have to have you arrested. Is that the same? Is that the same sort of procedure in Australia, Sandra? Because a lot of Australian law is based on what we have here, I think, isn't it?
We do have the same sort of Westminster system of law that you do, but we are allowed to talk about the jury trial if you're being put on a jury. What happens is once the trial starts, though, you're not allowed to talk about it then.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the same with me. Yeah.
Well, that's already more stuff than you've said all week about it.
Well, the thing is, though, wasn't it great in America? Because whenever a big trial finished,
go buy up the jury.
Oh, absolutely. The National Enquirer and all these Globe magazine all turn up, and offer like $50,000.
Well, I was telling Porky the other night, Sandra, I don't know if you were there at the time, but if you remember the Bernie Goetz guy, the subway gunman, And his jury, I think, all wrote a book. I mean, every single one of them. Not it wasn't like one person's going to write, but they all wrote books, which is extraordinary. All made a fortune.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember covering the Mike Tyson rape trial in Indianapolis.
Oh, right.
The same thing happened after that. All of the jurors, they became quite well known. They were effectively celebrities in Indiana.
Yeah, that's right. They were, weren't they?
And wasn't it the case as well in the O.J. Simpson trial that all the jurors became sort of superstars in one way or another?
I think they did, because they brought in the most ridiculous verdict in the history of American law, didn't they?
I mean, you've got to wonder, and I wondered this during the Bernie Goetz trial, you've got to wonder that if you're sitting on a jury and you've got a book contract from HarperCollins or somebody,
exactly.
You're going to think, what's the best outcome for me for the book? Well, you're not going to think what's the best outcome for the actual defendant, are you? I'm asking Sandra, by the way.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not asking you.
No, go on then.
Sandra's on the show.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, Sandra. I mean, don't you think? I mean, it's a strange system, isn't it?
It's a really strange system, and you do have to think that people would be sort of hedging their bets and working out, rather than a conflict of interest, they'll be saying, well, how is this going to better benefit for me?
Right. Absolutely. Now, Sandra, I can't remember whether we've raised it with you, but if we have, then perhaps you can give us an update. What's the situation regarding Mariah Carey? And
why are you so obsessed with Mariah Carey?
Well, I'm not obsessed with Mariah Carey, who I don't think is a particularly good-looking lady. But when you've got Australia's richest man giving her a $10 million engagement ring, and then pledging his troth to her, and then realising actually she's rather an eccentric individual, spendthrift, spends $100,000 a month on flowers, which is all going on his bill, and then you call it off. Did that cause a few ructions down under?
Oh, it did. It was hilarious. It was front page news, can you believe? I mean, it was just an engagement between the super diva and one of Australia's richest men, who also is not a very good-looking bloke, I have to say.
No, that's absolutely right, actually. Perhaps they're attracted to each other through the ugliness of the isolation of wealth or something. Yeah.
It was got to be something like that. But it did seem that she was a major spendthrift, and he just got jack of it. And apparently the word is that his family, his mum, who is a very well-respected philanthropist in Australia and a very lovely woman, his mum got really upset about the fact that Mariah Carey didn't come down for James's only sister's 50th birthday party.
Right.
So that was a bit of a blunder.
Yeah. A bit of a blunder, and I think Mum pretty much rules the roost in that house.
Right. Yes.
And so he's decided to sort of back out before it gets too difficult.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I don't want to cast any aspersions on this guy, but I mean, his father left him a £1 billion fortune. Is Jamie actually any good at business as well, or is he just carting around this huge amount of money on his back?
Well, who knows? Some of his casinos, he's now pretty much gone out of media. The Packer family were one of our biggest media families in the country. And he's sold out of all of the media interest, and he's gone into casinos and gambling and gaming, particularly in Asia.
Right.
And from what I understand, the casinos that he's got in Macau are not doing particularly well. So he's now, I think, heading over to Las Vegas. And he is going to open one of the most expensive high rollers rooms in Australia, in Sydney, when a new development on Sydney Harbour opens in about 18 months.
Oh, well, perhaps when we come over to do a show there, you get Porky into the high rollers room. That would be good for us.
That'd be great. I'll tell you what, last time I was on Bondi, down on Bondi Beach, I think Jamie Packer had a penthouse right at the end of the beach there. I don't know if it's still, maybe he's still got it, I don't know.
Yeah, no, he still does. He's got it there, and it's just sort of sitting pretty much vacant, other than one of our TV morning stars is now shacked up in there because he and his wife have broken up, and he's a good mate of Packer's, so he's gone down and living the bachelor life.
Very nice too. Yeah. Now, there's a weird story we've got to ask you about, Sandra, and it's about two French divers who died on the Great Barrier Reef recently. What's that about?
Shame.
Yeah, I know. We would normally talk about sort of our sharks and our crocs, but this was two heart attacks that happened almost at the same time up on the Barrier Reef when these two elderly French tourists, they were there were two of 21 French tourists who were out on a boat snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef in the shallows, and both of them had heart attacks and were found within minutes of each other floating on the top of the water, and they all sort of efforts to revive them and resuscitate them were unsuccessul. So unfortunately, they passed away.
And so was it just a bizarre coincidence? They didn't sort of encounter some kind of jellyfish or anything like that?
No, well, the coroner's reports obviously aren't in yet, but it does seem to be that they both They both had pre-existing medical conditions, and in fact, all of the 21 aged French tourists did, and that was well known. And they all had sort of experts with them to counter anything. But curiously, a third snorkeler also suffered heart problems at the same time. So there were 3 of them.
Good
How
God.
weird. This is a Bermuda Triangle sort of thing.
Sure they hadn't got bladderated on the boat on the way out there, because that often happens, doesn't it? And then if you take too much...
No, that's what happens when you go out on the boat.
No. If you take too much champagne and then go diving, you get the bends, don't you? That's what it's all about. Huh?
Well, you should, yeah. I don't think they let them drink before they go snorkeling. That wouldn't be sort of a...
No, that wouldn't be sensible.
I did.
Well, you would, because you drink before you do everything. There's nothing you don't do without a drink.
We were on a boat off Perth, experiencing...
Why has this turned into like Porky's travels in Australia?
No, experiencing the Fremantle Doctor effect, you know what I mean? Which is a win, by the way, obviously, not a doctor. And I was so bladderated that, I kind of fell off the boat rather than dive. And didn't seem to be too much of a problem. Well, there was somebody there to fish me out, obviously.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Now, finally, Sandra, because I know we haven't got a great deal of time, I've been asked to ask you by a couple of people on Twitter, is it true that the Australian government are trying to introduce some kind of backpacker tax which would hit tourists coming into Australia?
Yes, it is. It's absolutely true. And it is such a craven money grab. It's just a cash grab, basically, because Australian farming and pretty much horticulture really relies on backpackers, because they come in for seasonal picking, and because they're considered semi-resident, they don't have to pay any tax up to $18,000, and because they're only picking for about 4 weeks of the year, that's roughly what they'll be earning. So they've had a really good ride, and now the government wants to introduce a backpacker tax initially at 32%. And slug all these backpackers with this massive tax and superannuation, which has had the farmers in an outrage, simply because they think that they won't get the workers to do the harvesting. And with no,
so what is this? Is this a 32% on the money they make, as it were?
Yeah, 32% tax on the money they make, which is
that sounds
that sounds
extraordinary.
Mad,
that to me, because the whole idea of Australia is to attract immigrants for 150 years and welcome people there. And I always thought you're a kind of a low tax country, i.e., stand on your own 2 feet, spend your own money, and create this great country.
Au contraire, Porky, we are one of the most highly taxed income countries in the world. It's an outrage.
Is that right?
If you come and live, if you come and live in Australia, at least 33% of your wage will go to the tax man. God, in some cases, up to 50%.
That's an outrage.
Oh, that'll cancel the plans for the Opera House, then, won't it? You won't want to go anywhere near that.
Oh, well, don't worry. Thanks very much for warning us, Sandra. We'll be asking for a bit of under-the-table money now when we get there.
Marvellous. Well, listen, Sandra, delightful to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Indeed. Thank
all
you
the
very
best
much.
to you, and we shall talk to you soon.
It's always my pleasure, and thank you for having me on. And good morning to all your wonderful listeners.
Thank you very much
indeed, Sandra. Great to talk to you again.
She's lovely,
yes,
very lovely woman. Now, I've got some amazing stuff to show you very shortly.
Right.
From Twitter, people that have sent things in.
Yes.
Incredible stuff.
Yes.
I don't know quite where to begin, but it's coming up next on Talk Sport.
Okay.
Recognise that one?
Yes, I do.
Dear?
That was the week that was. David Frost. What are you laughing at?
Oh, she's singing it.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good guess. That was the week that was.
The singer was Millicent Martin.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was David Frost's first show after he came down from Cambridge.
Let's hope there's nothing in the quiz about that, because you seem to know quite a lot about that show.
Exactly, yes.
Now, do you recognise this painting? I'm holding up a picture of...
Yes, that's Van Gogh's Lilies.
Do you not think it's the sunflowers?
The sunflowers, that's what it is. Sunflowers,
lilies. Would you say that is by Van Gogh?
No, that's not by Van Gogh.
How do you know?
Because it's not the sunflowers painting that is Van Gogh's, I can tell.
Well, how can you tell?
Because the Van Gogh sunflowers painting has got much bigger heads on the top of the flowers.
Okay.
Right?
Do you know who's painted it?
A child, by the look of it.
Yes, it's done by Jacob's 5-year-old daughter.
Oh, really?
Which I think is pretty good.
Whose daughter?
Jacob. He's one of our Twitterers.
Oh, that's very good. Well done. That's a nice painting.
She will be a millionaire when she grows up, he says.
Oh, well, in that case, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you very
now,
much indeed.
Speaking of which, Jester has sent in some amazing pictures of vending machines around the world.
Yes.
The funniest one of which so far to me is what appears to be, I presume in Dubai, a vending machine for which you can buy gold.
Oh, brilliant.
And there's a picture of a guy in Arab dress waiting for a gold bar to drop out of the vending slot.
But why actually would you buy a gold bar out of a vending machine?
Well, maybe you just feel like having one to walk around with.
Like a bit of investment or something.
Maybe it's a sort of, because you know what, Dubai prides itself on being the sort of, capital of wealth and extravagance
it says
and all of
gold
that.
to go. Maybe it's a currency in Dubai, huh?
Well, you wouldn't be able to buy enough of it really to do much with, would you? I mean, if you had one bar of gold, it'd be worth what, say a troy ounce or something like that. So it'd be whatever a troy ounce of gold is. What, I don't know what it is at the moment. $300. You're supposed to know these things. You're on top of your financial business.
I don't know to that extent.
You don't know what the price of gold per ounce is.
I do, but
what is it?
What do you mean?
Well, what is it?
What?
What is the price of gold per ounce at the moment?
Well, it depends on what sort of ounce you're talking about.
I'm talking about troy ounce.
Troy ounce, yeah.
You don't know, do you?
Well, I don't want to get into this because we're talking about vending machines, and I've seen one here. It says 24-hour hot vending machine.
Yeah.
And you get things like chips.
Yeah.
You can get sausages.
Yeah.
You can get a hamburger.
That looks like in Japan, doesn't it? Or China, maybe.
You simply would not do that out of a machine, would you?
Well, if you were hungry enough, I think you would.
Deep hot pizza, I see that one.
Deep dish pizza.
Deep dish pizza. And this one, the Kip Burger. What's that? Oh,
that's a burger.
Yeah, no, that is. I tell you which one I use quite a lot when I'm going through airports and that. The toothbrush one.
Toothbrush one?
Yeah.
What, you buy a toothbrush?
No, what you buy is
I'm told a troy ounce is $1,200 roughly at the moment.
I was going to say $1,300, $1,300.
You were going to say that,
I was going to say $1,300.
Well, why did you say it?
Well, I didn't want to, diverge. Yeah. But, no, I buy the toothbrush one. And what it is it's a little bubble, right, literally.
A bubble?
A sphere, a little plastic sphere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a sort of ping pong ball size or smaller?
Smaller than ping pong ball.
Like the things you get in gobstopper machines.
That's right, that sort of thing. And you open it, and then inside this is what I can only call a circular brush with little bristles on it.
But a circular brush?
Yeah, circular, yeah. Well, it's the same shape as the sphere,
right?
But it's bristles coming out from a central sort of little ball, okay. But
so how do you get out the bristles if they're on the inside of the ball?
Well, you open the ball splits in two.
Oh, I see.
And then this thing with bristles on falls out.
Yeah.
Each bristle's got toothpaste on it.
Really?
And you put it in your mouth.
Where do you buy those from?
From vending machines in airports.
In airports?
Yeah.
I've never seen one of those.
Oh, yeah, I've used it all the time. And then you put it in your mouth and you chew it like you would chew, a hard-boiled sweet.
See. So it's soft?
Yeah, it's
so
soft.
The bristles are not attached to a hard thing?
No.
Oh, I see.
No.
I've never seen that.
That's right. And it cleans your teeth.
I would have thought you would have, from over the years, all the first-class flying you've done, loads of free airline toothbrushes. Because I've got loads of them.
Well, I think I've got, at last count, about 60 wash bags that you're given
60?
on aeroplanes. About 60, yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I've just accumulated them over the years. I sort of kept them because they looked really nice. Got leather ones. I've got.
I'm sure they're not faux leather.
No, they're definitely not faux leather. I've got one, believe it or not, from flying first class on El Al to Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
they have shower caps in them.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I've never used them because once you use them, they've ruined them, haven't you?
Well, no, you haven't ruined them.
Yeah.
What's the point? I mean, see, that's bizarre. You're like Howard Hughes, aren't you?
Why?
Well, you got all this rubbish in your apartment that you're never going to ever use.
No.
What's the point of having, say, a 35-year-old American Airlines first-class bag, which will have a toothbrush, some toothpaste, probably a nail file, probably some form of refreshment in terms of a cloth, which might be wet but won't be anymore because you've had it 30 years.
Yeah, but in my opinion, that is part of my life, and that I've kept it because.
But where have you got the room for all this rubbish?
Well, you store these things, but I mean,
in a locked room.
No, I haven't got a locked room. I never have had a locked room. No, but in my view, I mean, for instance, I've got my first card from being a member of the NUJ.
Well, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different.
But that's part of your life.
Well, that's fine.
Well, the first time you flew first class is part of your life.
Fine, well, keep that one then. Why do you keep 60?
Well, because it reminds me of all the places I've been and their milestones.
Remember where you've been, though?
I do.
Well, where did you go the first time you got a bag?
Well, as I said, to Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Because what happened was I was sent out there by the Express, to do a war, you know what I mean? And they insisted I went that day. It was on a Sunday. I remember I went into work, and I'd only been in London about a month because obviously I was transferred from Manchester. And John Ellison, that
the foreigner,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you a funny story about him in a minute. He was a very wiry man with glasses and very intense and all that. He go, Michael, come and see me immediately in my office.
Did you not ever think, by the way, that before you got to do the job that you were doing, the people that did the jobs, like the executive jobs,
that's right,
that was made them look much more difficult than they actually were,
and much more sort of mysterious, this is such a complicated job and all this kind of stuff. You're absolutely right. So I said, come into my office immediately. I said, no, I've been talking to Avi. Who's he? He's my contact inside the Israeli government. Right, okay, that's great. And thinking
probably some bloke in a bar in Tel Aviv, right?
Well, obviously, yeah. And you're thinking, wow, he's got contacts inside the Israeli government. As you quite rightly say, it's probably his dry cleaning shop in Haringey or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Avi says terrible eruption in the Sinai Desert. On Tuesday. I said, what's going to happen there then? It's going to be massive. We've got to get out there.
Right.
And I said, right, okay, and I thought I was very excited, going to cover a war.
Well, it was. I mean, in the days when you and I were reporter, you got a foreign trip. It was fantastic.
Sure.
It was brilliant.
So, anyway, he said, just get off to Heathrow, we'll sort the paperwork out before you get there. Because believe it or not, we actually used to have travel people in on a Sunday in those days.
Well, also, I remember walking towards one of those security arches at Heathrow one time. I can't remember where I was going. And there was a guy standing by with an envelope full of cash.
That's right, yeah.
Who just handed it to you as you walked through.
That's right. And there's your tickets and all that. So I got off to Heathrow, and when I got there, I went to the El Al desk, and I was amazed to be handed a first-class seat. It was a jumbo jet, by the way.
Was it?
That they're flying out to Tel Aviv, yeah. And so these days you say, thank you very much, you put it in your pocket and you don't ask any questions. But in those days, I had a bit of honour and principle.
Did you?
And I said to the lady, I said, are you sure this is my ticket? I said, this is a jumbo jet, is it? She said, yeah. I said, which has got first class and business and economy? She said, yeah. She said, and this is first class. She said it was the only seat left on the plane,
really?
Mr. Parry, and your office said you have to go.
Yeah.
And I said, great, thanks. So I flew off there. But
so did you have to come back to steerage then?
No, I think I came back business, actually.
Because they would pay for business, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But, no, the funniest thing about John Ellison was, so I got out there and I stayed at the American Colony Hotel. It's a famous hotel in Tel Aviv where all the correspondents stayed, like Ernest Hemingway stayed there and lived there and all that kind of stuff, And they tell me about, oh, yeah, how's it going on the Express, mate? Yeah, how's John Ellison? Yeah, fine. Still, playing around, was he, with the women? I said, who?
Who asked you this?
One of the correspondents one of the permanent correspondents in Israel.
Right.
And I said, no, he's a good family man, isn't he? He looks very earnest and like his grandfather. Hey, Ellison, you're joking. And he's dead, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah, he said...
What about his wife?
I'm not sure. He said, when he gets out here, he said he goes mad. He said it's outright, he can't leave it alone. I said, are you sure you got the right guy? Yeah. He said, of course I got the right guy.
Yeah.
He said, last time he came over here, he was staying in the room next to me. I said, I couldn't get to sleep for what he was up to. And at about 2 a.m, I heard this pained cry, and it was Ellison saying, you naughty girl, leaving your diaphragm in Jerusalem.
Dear me. That's a shocking thing to finish the story on. This is, of course, a family show. More revelations from Porky's travels coming up in the next hour. William says this, don't be fooled by Porky, Sandra. Porky's 4 pet hates are backpacks, cyclists, bus lanes and cats. He will tax them all. He sent that to Sandra.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
It is a bit harsh, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, what I have to tell you, by the way, is our little sojourn into the mind of Mr. Ian Holloway yesterday gained quite a lot of traction on Twitter yesterday.
Indeed.
There's a lot of people who are still punting out the phrase, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
He's got his first game coming up this weekend.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I take you down to Cornwall and Devon. You get on my tractor.
Who are you?
I thought he was from Bristol.
Right in Bristol. Well, that down West Country, innit? Hey, I come from West Country down there. We'll drink a lot of cider. I am a cider drinker. Yeah.
So QPR have got to Norwich City, where nobody goes, at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Have they? Is it in Norwich?
No, it's at QPR.
I see.
In West London, so it'll be his first game, which should be interesting.
I don't think he'll do much there, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to be judgmental or critical and all that kind of stuff, but he's been out the game an awful long time. I mean, my overriding memory of who are you this season
Give him the job.
Give him a job, yeah. Was I think he spent about a week on a blinking bus or a coach or something, going around every championship ground at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And I think everywhere he went, he leaned out the coach door and said, "Who are you? Where am I?
Where am I?" That'll be the next one.
Yeah, give me a job.
How about this from Lee? He says, "I smell a Van Gogh Porky Quiz coming soon. Collectible flight bags, by the way, worth quite a few quid on eBay if they're unopened. So you could have a bit of a mind.
Well, there you go.
A mind there of information. Now, how about this from Fred?
Yes.
Who says, "You naughty girl, you left your diaphragm in Jerusalem. I don't think I'll ever get that out of my mind."
I must admit, it's never got out of my mind for the last 30 years because he had such a high-pitched voice, John, you know.
Yeah.
And he was, I tell you what his claim to fame was. This is the funniest thing, right? This is, you've said, you know, the mysteries of being the foreign executive and all that. We actually had a foreign editor called Nick. Do you remember?
Nick,
who was about 88.
No, I don't remember him. No,
he was called Nick because his surname was Nicholson. Jim Nicholson.
Oh, Jimmy Nick. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, right. He was a Scotsman.
Yeah,
and he was aged about 88 or something. He wouldn't give up the job, and he always pined to become the foreign editor because he'd been deputy for so long. And he used to do things like come in the office at 5:30 in the morning and start ringing up, you know, Zambezi and ringing up Peru and all this. Yeah.
You mean Zambia?
Yeah, well, whatever. And ringing up Peru and, you know. So by the time that John Elson came in, yeah, that's right.
London calling.
No, it was like that. So by the time John Elson came in, you know, he would be able to say to John, John, I've got this story going on. And Elson used to treat him like a doormat and say, "What have you been wasting your time on that for, Nick? Just get back to your desk and make me some coffee or something." You know what I mean? So anyway, Ellison had, you know, gained this huge record of, you know, of being a top foreign correspondent. But he made so many errors and mistakes along the way. On one occasion, he was this is ridiculous. He was the permanent correspondent in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
And the Daily Express had a fantastic apartment in Paris because it's from the Beaverbrook days.
Okay.
When the Beaverbrook family had an apartment.
It's amazing the kind of money that they used to have swirling around, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then Lord Beaverbrook died, of course, and Max Aitken, who took over, who was Beaverbrook's son, and who was, in fact, a heroic Second World War fighter pilot and, you know, sort of shot down 16 German planes and all this kind of stuff. A true hero.
Right.
He took over the company, but he wasn't very good at business, and that's why the Express went into a terminal decline.
Right.
But the point of the story is he wasn't into the idea of decamping to Paris all the time, even though he was a bit of a playboy. He preferred the south of France.
Right.
So the apartment, this luxury apartment in Paris, was handed over to the French correspondent, and it happened to be John Ellison. He was there for 3 years. So anyway, one Sunday afternoon, he rings up and he's so excited. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Who was it? Marlene Dietrich who ended up in Paris?
I think she did end up in Paris. I think she died in Paris.
I think she died in Paris. Yeah. So anyway, he rings up afternoon. He's so excited. Oh, you're absolutely fantastic. You know, I've been working on this for 2.5 years. What is it, John? What is it? Says whoever the foreign editor was at the time, and John was the correspondent in Paris. He says, "I've cracked it with Marlene Dietrich." He said, "I've been trying to get into it for 2 years. He said, I kept calling round on the apartment block and talking to the concierge and all this kind of stuff." He said, and finally, I was there yesterday. She walked in and finally admitted me, "I've got this fantastic interview with her."
Right.
And they said, "That's brilliant, John. Well done. You know, it's fantastic. Oh, it's a world beater and all this." So he sends all this over, and somebody else, you know, who worked on one of the desks was actually a film buff and was reading something and said, "That's very odd." You know, she talked about this film and talked about that film. She said she wasn't in that film, you know. Honestly. So fortunately, the guy who, you know, he was a copy taster or something, he said, "I wonder why John's written all this about these films." So they ring him back and said, "John, you know, are you able to go back and talk to Miss Dietrich about some of the things she said about her films?" And he said, you only give her one opportunity, you know, to talk to world superstars like Marlene Dietrich. And said, "Well, look, you're going to have to go back because actually some of the films she said she works in, she wasn't in."
Right.
He said, "What? What are you talking about?"
Right.
You know, he was mystified. He said, "Well, you know, she wasn't in this film with John Wayne and all this kind of stuff." So
where did he get it all from?
Well, he goes back and discovers that actually for 2 hours he'd been interviewing Marlene Dietrich's cleaner and not Marlene Dietrich, who hadn't been in Paris for 3 months.
Right.
And this woman came once a week to keep the flat up to date and all
he thought
that.
it was her. Blank.
he thought it was Marlene Dietrich. He was convinced that, she looked like her. And, he thought...
Well, she must have played along with it then.
Well, I think she was just mystified at who this bloke was. And he spoke very poor French, apparently. Although he'd been there for 2 or 3 years, and he was English. And she was German or something like that, and she lived in France as well. And between the two of them, they got completely...
well, luckily it never went in the paper.
Never went in the paper, but it could have done. But, I mean, that was a huge mistake. But in Fleet Street in those days, you could make the most enormous errors.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Hitler's diaries.
Yeah.
Well, he went on to have a very successful publishing career after that.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
He did, absolutely right. Now, I just want to show you this because somebody has sent it in. It's pictures of Mariah Carey, sort of rather underdressed, shall we say. Do you still think she's not a very good-looking woman?
No, I don't. I think that's, they're racy pictures, but any woman can put on some lacy underwear and make herself look more attractive.
Well, I wouldn't say any woman.
Well, yeah, okay, some women. I totally agree. And, she, to me, is a complete phenomenon. She's like Kim Kardashian. They're just famous for being famous these days, aren't they?
Well, she's quite a good singer as well.
Well, she's got a track record of some hit songs, but she hasn't had...
Where do you think she got her money from?
Well, she hasn't had as many hit songs as people like Madonna, has she?
Well, probably
not. Or Barbara
not.
Streisand.
I bet you she's quite a lot more successful than you think. I bet she is. Now, I've got some great news for you, which has come to my attention.
Great.
Bobcat Bob has been talking ahead of the Everton game.
I want to hear it.
And he was being asked about whether he was having any doubts about the crisis at Swansea.
Great.
I wouldn't use that word. It's 11 games, for me 4. We certainly understand that we are in an important stretch, need results, need, again, this confidence boost. So we're not glossing over anything, that's for sure. But no, I wouldn't say crisis. I just think we have to be strong. We have to understand that it's not just about one part of football. We've got to be better in many ways. And so, sometimes I like this expression about making plays. And good teams make plays that count in all parts of the field.
Making plays.
Making plays.
Yeah. Making plays in all parts of the field. So basically, that is summed up as this, I'm telling you, boy, no crisis.
Making plays.
Yeah, I'm doing on an important stretch. Got to get a confidence boost. Not glossing over everything. Making plays in all parts of the field. Not glossing over anything.
This is Talk Sport. TalkSport has teamed up with Asper's Casino at Westfield, Stratford City to give 4 lucky winners the chance to win a 4-star hotel getaway to London, as well as money towards your travel. You'll also receive £200 credit to spend at Asper's Casino, which can be used across the casino, including food and drink.
That's right. This is all to celebrate Asper's Casino's 5th birthday. Simply enter at talksport.com/competitions and listen to the Sports Bar tonight to find out if you're one of the lucky 4.
That's right. To further celebrate their 5th birthday, Asper's are also giving customers the chance to win one of 5 cars just by visiting the casino during their birthday celebrations. And for more information, visit aspersstratford.co.uk. Now, I've just been looking up Mariah Carey's hits.
Oh, yes.
We're not a bit different from that picture I just showed you.
Yes.
And she's had 25 Billboard hits, right? 25 top Billboard hits. Obsessed at number 25, which peaked at number 7 in 2009. Yeah. Make It Happen, which got to number 5 in 92. Yep. I Still Believe, which got to number 4 in 99. Yep. Endless Love with Luther Vandross got to number 2 in 94. Touch My Body was at number 1 for 2 weeks in 2008. Heartbreaker, number 1, 1999 for 2 weeks. I'll Be There, number 1.
Is that the famous Ain't Nothing But a Heartbreaker?
Why do you have to be a heartbreaker?
Why do you have to be a heartbreaker?
The Bee Gees song. I don't know if it was.
Well, it was a Bee Gees written song.
It's featuring Jay-Z, so it might be a different version.
But it's most famous when it was sung by Dionne Warwick.
She's also the only artist to spend time at number 1 in every year of the decade of the 90s. So she's been pretty successful.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll Be There,
but I couldn't name one of her songs.
I'll Be There with Jackson 5. Remember that song?
I'll be there.
That one, yeah. Don't Forget About Us, number 1 for 2 weeks, 2005-6.
Don't remember that.
Honey, number 1 for 3 weeks in 97. Can't Let Go, number 2 in 92.
Very successful.
I Know What
I
You
agree,
Want, number 3.
Well,
you said you didn't think she'd had much success.
No, okay, but what I'm saying is, I don't know where her popularity comes from, because if you said to me...
she's a pretty good singer.
You know, if you said to me, name a famous song sung by Cher, and then I would say...
What would you say?
I would say, what was that one they did on the USS New Jersey?
I don't know.
I'm gonna find the time.
Yeah. Turn Back Time.
Turn Back Time, that's right, yeah, Turn Back Time. So Cher, Turn Back Time. Madonna, you'd say, one of hundreds of hits, like Material Girl.
Yeah.
Or La Isla Bonita, which I like. That's my favourite Madonna song.
The Spanish one.
Yeah.
Well, We Belong Together was at number 1 for 14 weeks in 2005.
Who'd she sing that with?
Mariah Carey. She sang on her own.
On her own. We Belong Together.
Yeah.
Who wrote that then, I wonder?
I don't know. I can't give you information on every
No,
single
but
one of
I
the
don't
songs.
even remember that. I mean, I remember, every Cilla Black hit, every Bonnie Tyler hit.
Do you?
Every... Yeah.
You don't remember the words, though, do you?
Yeah, eh?
You don't remember the words?
Well, not always.
Well,
but
I remember when we
mostly.
tried to do the Welsh music quiz and you tried to sing the song by Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
I was lost
And you didn't.
in France.
Lost in France is easy, yeah.
In the trees, the birds were singing. Now, listen, I'm thinking of getting a new mattress this weekend, right, if I get the time. What's your problem?
Why?
Well, because I
Do you think that's the cause of your back problem?
Well, I think it could be.
How is your back, by the way? I haven't
It's
asked
not
you.
good. It's not good. I've got
Well, you
sciatica.
seem to be in less pain today than you have been.
I've got sciatica down the left
Why don't
and
you go
right
to the doctor?
legs, front and back, because doctors can't help you. You have to go and find a really, really good physio, and I have got a really, really good physio, but I haven't had time because I'm on the secret mission.
Well, you've
rota.
already now told everyone what the secret
Well,
mission is.
I haven't. You don't have to put two and two together. Because I'm on the secret mission rota, I haven't had time to go and see my excellent physio, who, in fact...
And where is the physio located?
These days, she's located...
It's a she.
It's a she, and she's part
Does
of
she
the...
manipulate your muscles?
Yeah, and she's part of the England rugby team physiotherapy unit.
Okay.
Yes.
Young woman?
Well, sort of youngish, middle-aged, but she's a former England international hockey player.
Oh, is she?
And she played with my sister at a number of hockey clubs.
Okay.
Although my sister didn't play for England. And
Your sister played a lot of hockey, though, didn't she?
Oh, a lot of hockey, yeah. Did a knee in, actually. I mean, she's got a bad knee
Has
now, which is from the doctors told her, you played hockey till you were nearly...
Is this Sue Ellen or the other sister?
This is Sue Ellen, till she was over 55.
Right.
And frankly, the wear and tear on your body is quite severe.
Shocking, yeah.
But no...
Drive you to drink.
Eh?
I'll drive you to drink.
So if I get time to go, I'm just trying to remember where my physio is, because she...
Well, you don't know where she is.
Well, she's a university lecturer as well.
I see.
And, last time I was being treated, she was in Teddington at the University of London, sort of,
Brackets, southwest London or something.
or whatever, but that's where their running tracks and all that work, because that's what she does.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And now she's moved to another university.
Well, maybe you should seek her out and go and get it sorted
Well,
out.
yeah,
because,
maybe.
you can't carry on like this.
Yeah, but I don't get the time to do it.
So where are
you
you going to
see.
get a mattress from?
Do
you remember in New York, they used to have places where you could ring up and they'd deliver the mattress that day?
Within hours.
You can't do that here.
No, you can't do that here. The lorry would turn up, wouldn't it? And they just...
Yeah, you used to see them driving around the city.
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
And you literally, ring a number, and the guy, if he was happened to be right near where you were,
he'd
just
bring you the mattress.
Drop it right around.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? That was like...
So where are you going to get one from, though?
Well, I might go on the internet and have
really?
a look. But I was going to ask you, have you ever had one of these mattresses where they look like they're made of foam and they just shape around your body as you lie there? Have you had one of them?
I've got one of those.
Oh, are they any good?
Yeah, great.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they also, you can put a drink on them. Not that you would necessarily be drinking in bed, but I mean, you could put a glass, not a wine glass, but a tumbler.
Well, you've got one of these, have you?
I have, yeah.
What's it called?
I can't remember.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, is it
something form? Is it something?
No, is
form?
it body foam or something like that, or body form? Is
body
it?
form, something like that. Yeah. I think that might be something else, but it's something form.
Yeah. And you find it very comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll have to think about that then. Yeah.
They say that you should actually replace your mattress quite regularly, don't they?
But the last I saw, the advice was 8 years.
8 years, I think, is the top absolute maximum.
But I was going to say I wouldn't have a mattress for 8 years.
How much use it gets, I suppose.
I'd have thrown it out before then. What I do is
how old's the one you got now?
About 5 years, I think, and that's time to go. But you can turn it round and turn it over to make
You can do that,
different,
but you should do that every 4 years.
Yeah,
and then if you get to 8 years, then you should get rid of it.
No, I think.
Is it a spring one you've got at the moment?
Yeah, spring one. Yeah, but my housekeeper sorts all that out. She turns it over, every couple of years or something.
Does she?
So I'd better get a new one. I think.
Yeah, I think you probably should. And is it there's a double, a king? What size is it?
It's king.
King.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can sort of spread out on it. You know what I mean?
Well, of course.
Have you seen that Hillary Clinton has literally said that
Literally.
Yeah. Literally said that her life is now destroyed.
Well, she said that she wanted to sort of curl up and never go out again.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
she?
right. Yeah,
she looked very, very worn down, didn't she?
Yes.
Did you see the press conference she gave or the speech that she gave?
I haven't actually, but I've seen some still pictures. That have been tomorrow morning's newspapers.
She looks like she hasn't slept since she lost.
She looks like an oil painting, and what I mean by that is not beautiful. She looks like there are so many lines in her face. It looks like brushstrokes.
70.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I mean,
but does she not have a completely different look? Because while she was campaigning, and there were certain issues around her health, weren't there?
That's right.
And people were talking about whether it was actually, likely that if she became president, she wouldn't have health problems.
That's right.
But she almost looked like a walking kind of airbrushed picture.
Yeah, that's right.
There were no wrinkles. The makeup was amazing.
I agree.
And now I guess maybe she feels she doesn't need that anymore, and she's not hiding it anymore. And I think she actually looks more natural, but she just looks very tired.
Yeah.
You know?
But imagine if you were a boxer, and ever since the age of about 14, you'd said that you're going to be world heavyweight champion, and then when you got to 28, you actually got your shot.
Yeah.
But you were knocked out in the first round. I mean, bang.
Or actually knocked out in the 10th round.
I would say the first round, because I would say that actually getting to the pinnacle of being the next contender.
I would say the analogy would be this, that she was ahead on points going into the 10th round.
Oh, well, yeah,
and then got knocked out.
Yeah.
Because she thought she was winning.
Yeah, good point.
Didn't
she? Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
And
it's
now
23-3, by the way, favourite Carolina against New Orleans.
Nobody cares, honestly.
Well, I care.
And now her life's over because she's never going to run for president again.
No,
she saw it as being literally the crowning glory of her life to match what her husband had done.
Her entire career. I mean, it's what she'd built everything on.
Her entire life. No, her entire life was built on it. And sometimes people have questioned whether she had a child by mistake rather than planned it, because her whole life had been about, her advancement and politics and all that kind of stuff.
No, I don't know about that.
Which is a bit harsh. But,
it is harsh.
But that's what they said.
But yeah, I mean, I was quite surprised at her candour, actually.
Yes.
But I mean, as much as there will be people who say that, it's good that she didn't get into the White House because she wouldn't have been a great president anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt she will not suffer terribly. She'll write a book, no doubt, which will sell millions, and she will get some high-paying job somewhere in Wall Street or as a consultant in some political arena.
Well, she won't work again, will she?
Oh, I'm sure she won't be able to leave it alone.
As you just said, she's nearly 70.
Yeah, but
she won't be able
to leave it alone.
Yeah, but I think she's literally humiliated. I think I think it's a terrible humiliation for her.
She is.
She's been beaten by a guy who many regard as so unstable. He
and she will go down. And she will. I mean, I said this before the actual result. That if she does lose, which she has done, she will go down in history as the worst candidate ever put up by the Democrats.
Yeah, that's right.
Because she lost to a guy who should never have won.
Well, she lost to a guy who was just simply not US president material, was he?
Exactly.
And nobody quite knows how she lost to him, and they're going to find that out over the next couple of years, aren't they?
Now, Peter says, Porky, the Zambezi is the longest river in Africa, but it doesn't have a phone number, so you can't ring it up.
Oh, right, okay.
Hashtag X directory.
Well, Zambia then, okay?
Yeah, all right.
Hey?
And here's one from David. He says, all hell is about to break loose on the Gold Coast tonight. I think he's in Australia. The start of 2 weeks of zillions of high school graduates going wild. The event, which draws crazy teenagers coming from all over Australia to party, is called Schoolies and terrorises the locals.
Where is this happening?
On the Gold Coast, up near Brisbane.
Oh, the Gold Coast, yeah. Okay,
up in Australia. I mean, apparently it'll be a bit like spring break, I guess, in America.
Yes, I suppose it will be, yes.
He's in Surfers Paradise, actually.
Surfers Paradise, yeah, that's a pretty groovy sort of place to be, I think.
Lee tells me Westfield Shopping Centre at Shepherd's Bush has a gold vending machine.
Oh, really?
But why? I mean, why?
No, what, you mean you get bits of gold out of it? Well, that would get stolen in that price. I'm telling you.
If it's $1,200 per ounce, right, dollars.
Yes.
So you say you have to put 1,000 quid in.
Yes.
You'd have to use a credit card, presumably.
Yeah.
And you get a gold bar out, and surely you're just a walking mugger magnet, aren't you?
Exactly.
People would just hang around by the gold machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, oh, look, there's a guy taking some gold out. I'll just knock him over the head and take it.
Well, that's right. I mean, people do hang around outside banks when they know that people have withdrawn loads of money.
Yeah.
Hey, what about old Leonardo going up to
Leonardo
the
DiCaprio.
I'm
a
fish and chip shop in Edinburgh.
Well, it was a cafe, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
It's a sort of homeless cafe where they give homeless people sort of free stuff.
Oh, do
and
they?
Also, I think they employ some of them as well. I'm pretty sure it's the same place that George Clooney went a few months ago. Do you remember when George Clooney went up there?
That's right. Yeah, it was the same place, wasn't it?
I think so. So the guy's clearly got an eye for publicity. And Leonardo was there for about an hour or so, apparently. I don't know what he was doing in Edinburgh.
He was. It says here he was in the Scottish capital to deliver a speech at the Scottish Business Awards. By the way, what he did, in the past you've always complained about, signing autographs and things because your.
What do you mean I've always complained?
Well,
about
your
it?
wrist isn't very pliable, is it?
It's
you
not,
have trouble
no,
with
it's not that my wrist is very pliable. It's just my signature. It's terrible.
Yeah, your signature is
just
terrible.
because my handwriting was always not very good.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't write anything by hand anymore. So when I'm trying to sign things like T-shirts, which are not always the easiest things to sign, or DVDs, particularly when you've taken up all the space as well by writing your stuff.
Well, I always write
You leave me like a tiny little corner.
I always write Mike Porky Parry. I do it. I take it seriously. I do it properly and do it in full.
Yeah, because you're more interested in signing, giving your autographs to people.
No. Whereas you just do a squiggle. Anyway, it says here that these days he can't be bothered either, so he just does a Z squiggle, and he got through 100 today just by doing one after the other.
Z squiggle.
Yeah.
Why did you put a Z in it?
I don't know, but
his name is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, well, it looks more like a number 2 actually, because there's a picture of one here I've just seen on the website.
Okay.
And he, he apparently has given up trying to write his name because. It takes too long.
No, right.
And I understand what he said. I understand what he's talking about.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
It must be terrible for you both.
Yes.
Ernie says, I think the bed you and Mr. Parry are talking about is a memory foam mattress.
Ah, that's it. Memory
That's what
foam.
Alex says as well.
Memory foam. I like it.
Julian says you get a sleep monitoring app in the App Store, Porky, called Sleep Matters.
There's what?
A monitoring sleep, an app for monitoring your
Oh,
sleep.
okay. Thank you.
All right, so you can check that out. Anyway, it's almost time because next it's the Porky Quiz.
Yeah.
So give me coffee and TV, history. I've seen so much, I'm going blind and I'm brain dead virtually.
This is Talk Sport. It's time, of course, for the Porky Quiz, and the subject selected by Mr. Parry was actually selected a few weeks ago, but was replaced at the last minute by Liverpool Quiz just before we did our show up at the O2 Academy. So this one has been around for a couple of weeks, and it is, of course, the history of not just the BBC, but television coverage programming since 1936.
Indeed.
As ever, there are 10 questions, all of which have one correct answer. You might argue about half points here and half points there, but we'll take those as we come. If you get one correct, you will hear this.
You are an educated man.
And if you get one incorrect, you will
This
hear
boy
this.
is a fool.
This boy's a fool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, are you ready for question number one?
I am.
What was the first outside broadcast televised by the BBC?
The first outside broadcast televised by the BBC.
Yes.
That would be. See, what happened was they had to suspend television during the Second World War because the VHF signals might have alerted the Germans to certain locations in London.
Right.
So I think it was. In fact, I know it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth I.
Queen Elizabeth I?
Queen Elizabeth II, I'm sorry. Queen Elizabeth II. The coronation of Queen Elizabeth II.
The question is, what was the first outside broadcast?
You asked what, and I said it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah. Incorrect.
No, it's not incorrect.
It says here the coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth in May 1937, which was not Queen Elizabeth II, I think you'll find.
I think that's I think that's wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
I'm right, and
it is not wrong.
No, there were no television sets around then, so it couldn't have been broadcast.
It was the first outside broadcast, 1936. Started, 1937 was the date. Question number two.
Right.
When did Tom and Jerry first air on a regular 5 o'clock slot on BBC One?
Tom and Jerry,
Yeah.
5 o'clock slot, BBC One.
I'm looking for a year.
Happened, yeah. First time that happened, it was precisely. Let me just get the Tom and Jerry. Yes, it was 1967.
Correct.
Thank you.
You are an educated man.
We may have to call for the anti-cheating officials.
No.
Very
Done
good.
my research.
All right, question number three.
Yes.
What was the BBC's first colour broadcast in 1967?
1967, first colour broadcast. Do you know what? What happened was the Germans announced they were introducing colour TV, and David Attenborough, believe it or not, was the head of BBC Two, and he said, no, we've got to get in first. So he did a colour broadcast programme 3 weeks ahead of the Germans, and it was 67, wasn't it?
It was 67.
67.
Yes.
It was. I think it was Match of the Day.
Incorrect.
No!
This boy is a fool.
It was, in fact, the Wimbledon Championships.
Wimbledon Championship. Well, it was sporting events, so I need half a point
No,
for that.
you will not get
No,
half a
I
point
said
for
Match
that.
of the Day.
No.
Match of the Day was definitely
No,
the first.
rubbish.
No, but Match of the Day was the first weekly programme.
Well, I asked you
first
for the
weekly
first,
programme.
No, I asked the first colour broadcast in 1967.
Match of the Day
You're
was
getting
40
nothing.
minutes every Saturday night.
Nothing at all. Question number 4. Following that success, Pot
Yes.
Black was born.
Yes.
When was that first introduced? And I'm looking for a date and a year.
Yeah, Pot Black was introduced in May 1969.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
Incorrect.
No.
This boy is a fool.
July 1969. You get half a
Oh,
point.
no. Come
You get half a
on.
point.
Come
I said
on.
I'm looking for a date and a year.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean, come on?
Well, I got to within, days of it, and it was 40 years
I didn't
ago.
ask you for the year.
45 years ago.
I didn't ask you for the year. I asked you for the date and the year. You didn't give me a date, actually. You just gave me a month.
Good.
The correct
God.
answer to get the full point is July 23rd, 1969.
Yeah, and I said that.
No, you didn't.
What did I say?
You said May 1969.
Well, that's so close. That was 24 days
Yes,
away.
that's why I'm giving you half
24
a point.
days away, 45 years ago.
Well, I'm giving you half a point. Well done.
Damn
So
it.
far, you got 1.5 out of 4. Question number 5.
Yeah.
ITV first ran a colour advert on the 15th of November 1969.
Yes.
When the colour licence became valid.
Yes.
What was it for?
It was for the first colour advert, 1969. It was for a car.
What kind of car?
It was for a car, and the car concerned was... Now, I'm just thinking aloud here. Pa drives a Jaguar, and Pa goes rather far. But I don't think it was a Jaguar.
You said that was something that was said at your school, didn't you?
Yeah, that was the elocution lessons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it wasn't an advert.
No, hang on. Right. The most popular car in those days was the Ford Anglia. So it's got to be a Ford car. Ford
Incorrect.
car. No.
This boy is a fool.
It was for Bird's Eye Peas.
Bird's eye peas. So why did you let me go on believing it was a car
I didn't
then,
let
you
you go
idiot?
On. I did not. I just asked you to be more specific.
Disgraceful.
Question number 6.
What about the gerrymandering factor?
Question number 6. Who played Benny in Crossroads between 1976 and 1987?
Benny in Crossroads
Yeah.
with his woolly hat.
Very iconic soap opera figure.
Crossroads was such a bum production that the walls used to
terrible, wasn't
wobble when they slammed the
They
door.
revamped it, didn't they? They did a new
Yeah,
version
yeah,
of it, which wasn't any good either.
No, they did it in Birmingham. It lasted about 3 months.
Hmm.
Now, the guy who played Benny in Crossroads...
Yeah. I need his name.
Yes, he played like a village idiot type character. That
What,
was
Benny?
Benny.
Well,
Yeah, Benny.
He wasn't bright, was he?
No, he wasn't bright, no. And his name was... He never did anything else, never acted in anything else after they closed down Crossroads. And one of the stars in Crossroads was in a wheelchair. That was the first time they had a wheelchair character on
Yes.
telly.
What about Ironside?
English wheelchair character.
Okay.
His name, I've just remembered, was Paul something, okay?
I'm going to need all of his names.
Paul... it was Paul... Wilkinson.
Incorrect.
No.
His name
boy
was
is a
Paul
fool.
Henry.
What?
Paul Henry.
So it was Paul?
Well, Paul was his first
Well, I must
name.
get half a point.
No, you
Surely.
don't.
Oh, come on,
Why
Vic.
would you get half a point
Come
for that?
on, come on.
Completely wrong name.
Everybody knew him as Paul. Hiya,
they
Paul.
didn't.
How you doing?
No,
hey,
they
it's
didn't.
Benny. Look, Paul. Hey. No.
I'm sorry. I'll give you no
that's,
points.
that's rubbish.
Question number 7. You should get this one.
Right.
What is the most watched programme in British history?
The most watched programme, the one right at the top.
Number 1.
That would be the World Cup final 1966.
Correct.
Hooray!
An educated man.
Woo!
Just beating, by a small margin,
Yes.
actually, Prince Diana's funeral.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Question number 8.
Yes.
Have a listen to this.
I can't hear anything. Yes.
You recognise that?
Well, it depends what the question is.
Well, do you recognise the theme tune of a particular show?
I might do, but I
Okay.
want to know what the question is.
The question is, who starred in this iconic British TV comedy? I'm looking for 2 names.
Well, that's the theme music to 2 shows that succeeded each other. One was Yes Minister and the other one was Yes Prime Minister. Right?
I can't give you any clues.
Well, you kept asking me, do you recognise the theme music, right?
Yeah.
So I refused to answer the question because I knew it was a trick question.
Uh-huh.
Right, and the two guys you're talking about, one was Nigel Hawthorne, and I'm thinking aloud here, one was Nigel Hawthorne, and the other one went on to be the sergeant in Heartbeat. Okay? Heartbeat,
What,
yeah.
is that starring Ian Holloway? Who are you?
Who are you? Give him the job.
Who are you?
Who are you? Give him the job. Nigel Hawthorne and the sergeant guy. You mean who was the minister as well? The minister and Prime Minister was Paul somebody. Paul. It was another Paul.
Well,
Nigel Hawthorne and Paul Wilkinson.
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 Incorrect.
No.
It's a completely wrong programme.
No.
It was To the Manor Born. It was not Yes Minister.
Oh, you're joking.
It was To the Manor Born.
Oh.
Penelope Keith and Peter Bowles.
Yeah.
Question...
Why did you let me go on talking about Prime Minister, you idiot?
You didn't tell me the name of the show, did you? You said you knew it. Question number 9.
Yeah.
The Royal Wedding was the top-rated TV programme in 2011.
Yeah.
What was the number 2 programme in that year?
2011?
Yes.
2011, so it must be William's wedding then, that must have been.
Yes, that was indeed correct.
Yeah,
so
Prince
what was
William.
the second biggest audience?
What, in 2011?
2011.
2011,
yes.
The second biggest audience, because it was a worldwide event,
yes.
Right, would have been... Well, the World Cup was in 2010, so it wasn't that.
No.
2011, oh, I tell you what, that could have been the Rugby World Cup, right? Did I cover that one? Probably. So I think it would. No, I don't think it was. I think it was something like a moonshot or something. There weren't any moonshots in 2011. So it was probably, let me see.
I have to hurry you.
Yeah, I know. So biggest programme after that one. I reckon it was the last episode of... No. I think it was the first episode of Downton Abbey.
Incorrect.
No.
This boy is a fool.
It was the X Factor results show. 13.46 million people.
Honestly, who cares about a show like
well,
that?
it was 13.46 million people cared about it. For
Just
obviously.
get on with
Final
it.
question. You currently have 2.5. Yeah. Can you get to 3.5, which was my prediction? Number 10.
Yes.
Who won the first I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in 2002?
Ah ha 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 ha. I think I know this.
Do you?
I think it was... Because I remember him coming out of the jungle and waving and looking sort of banjacks, and I thought, good for you, pal, you've done it. You're from my profession. Tony Blackburn.
Correct.
Hooray! Woo,
You are
Very good.
educated
Very
man.
well done.
Yes.
So you have achieved exactly the score that I predicted, 3.5 out of 10.
Except for the gerrymandering.
Well, no, I thought it was pretty poor on a couple of those.
Well, I got the first name of a guy right, Paul, and you wouldn't give me half a mark for that to make it 4.
You don't get an answer right
Well, I think
by,
you should.
by saying one name, Paul. Yeah, Paul, John.
It's not fair.
Ringo.
It's not fair.
It doesn't work like that.
I thought it was a good effort.
3.5 out of 10. This is
And by the
Talksport.
way,
What?
you have to give me credit. The ones I get wrong, I know an awful lot about.
Yeah, but you don't get any points for that.
Well, you see,
You
that's...
didn't know anything about To the Manor Born. You
That's
didn't even recognise the tune.
That's what the gerrymandering... I could have sworn that was...
But it's not dissimilar.
Yeah.
Not dissimilar, but there are subtle differences. This is Yes Minister.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you see, that is
Very
always the
different.
same.
Very
always
different.
the same music.
Well, you want to hear the other one?
No, don't.
you want to hear the
No,
other
I'm
one?
fed up of hearing stupid music. Don't want to hear it.
Completely different. 3.5 out of 10. Cheerio. Thanks to Homebase, you can win £500 worth of power tools this week on TalkSport. Homebase has a great range of trusted brands to choose from, which you can reserve online or find in store. The new range includes Makita, Ozito, Ryobi, AEG, Irwin, Arrow, and more.
That's absolutely right. Find out how to win a Homebase exclusive ultimate 13-piece Ozito power tool kit with Hawksby and Jacobs this afternoon from 1 o'clock.
You know that tune, don't you?
Hey?
You know that tune.
Oh, sorry, all thanks to Homebase, by the way. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yeah, over 600 new big brand tools at always low prices. Yeah? Do you know that? Yeah.
I did know that, yeah. I think you should have said that earlier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, never mind that. Do you recognise that tune?
Oh, yeah, that's
right.
Thunderbirds.
Well done.
Thunderbirds, yeah. Why was that in the quiz?
I don't know. I don't write the questions.
Right, okay, yeah.
Now, how about this from Laura? She says, Hi, Mike and Mike. My boyfriend loves your show. Shout out to Browno24, which is his Twitter name.
Yeah.
Please, he is your biggest fan.
Where does he live?
I don't know.
Okay, Browno24. Welcome on board the Two Mikes Carousel.
Indeed. And Dave says this. Hi, Mike. I saw you two at the Academy in Liverpool. Would love a birthday shout out on the podcast Friday the 18th. Great show. So that's Dave.
Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, Dave, happy birthday, pal. Good to see you up on Merseyside.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though I didn't
right.
see you, obviously, but I'm glad you were there. Thank you.
Well, we might have seen him afterwards. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And, of course, our next show is up in Glasgow
It is.
on December the 17th.
Yes.
And if you go to the twomikes.co.uk, you can get
that's right.
a look at where you get the tickets from.
That's
now,
right.
before we
and
go...
by the way, we're flying up there on British Airways.
Why are you telling everyone where we're flying with?
Because I'd like them to upgrade us, because...
you don't get upgraded. You only go to Scotland.
Because we might get mobbed by people.
Don't be ridiculous. It's a one category plane.
Oh, is it? Oh, right,
You're only up in the air for 45 minutes.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
What we should say to them, rather than anything
We'd like to
else,
go in the lounge before we go.
make sure that... I've got a lounge pass if you want.
Okay, that'll do.
But, I mean, it's not Weatherspoons. You might be getting a pint of beer.
No.
What we do want to tell them to do is stock up on the champagne.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Because I think
well,
they
that's
ran
for
out,
you. I
they
don't...
ran out on Ryanair the last time.
Yeah, I don't drink it, of course.
Now, what about this story, right, which we should touch upon before the show ends? It's on most front pages. Girl wins right to return from the dead.
It's quite amazing.
It's quite a remarkable story. A 14-year-old girl who died of cancer has been cryogenically frozen in the hope that she can be woken up and cured in the future after winning a landmark court case in her final days. It's an extraordinary story.
Has this actually gone ahead?
This has gone ahead. It was embargoed until midnight of last night.
So the girl is now in a state of suspended animation, frozen.
Yes. She said in a letter to the court, I don't want to die, but I know I'm going to. I want to live longer. I want to have this choice. She's known only as JS, and she made an appeal to the Justice Peter Jackson.
I find it astonishing.
To rule that her mother, who was in support of her, should be the only person allowed to make decisions about the disposal of her body. But the other parent, the father, who I believe is divorced from the mother, wasn't in favour of it. But so now she's been frozen.
I find it astonishing. I mean, that is real science fiction to me.
Well, it is. I mean, we've spoken to people in America, right, who are running some of these cryogenics sort of experimental laboratories.
Yes.
And people have paid as much as $30,000 to have their bodies frozen.
I thought you had to pay a lot more than that. I thought you had to pay like hundreds of thousands of
dollars.
dollars.
I think it's $30,000 in this one place I spoke to the guy in. And, the problem is, he's making money hand over fist because people are giving him 30 grand. He's saying to them, at some point in the future, when we have the technology, we will be able to wake you up. But, I mean, it's money for old rope, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you run a racket like that, the person who's being frozen will never know whether they wasted their money or not,
well,
will
exactly.
Because they're never coming back to life.
That's my point.
Yeah. One very salient point here, was the young girl frozen before she died?
What?
Was she...
No. I don't believe so.
Well, I can't understand why she would wait till she died and then have her body frozen, because she's then gone out of life into death. Wouldn't it have been better, and I'm being absolutely serious about this,
I recognise
I'm not
your
being
question.
mawkish,
No, I recognise
wouldn't it be
your
better that if the doctor said you've only got 3 days to live, that she should have been frozen at that point, because then if she can be brought back to life in 100 years' time, she'll be brought back in a state where she still had life in her when she was frozen, and they can cure the cancer in her before she dies 3 days later.
Yes.
Do you see my point?
All I can say, I think, is that from what I'm reading here, there's been some dispute about the process itself. Because apparently, after the judge gave the decision, and the reason it was embargoed until midnight, apparently, of last night, is that the judge said that nothing could be revealed about the story until a month after her death.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think... The two things are very closely related in the sense that they say the girl's doctors expressed serious misgivings about the process of freezing, which did not go entirely to plan. Apparently it was disorganised and caused real concern to hospital staff, because there isn't really any regulation of cryogenics and the way that it all works. Her body has now been sent to America, presumably to one of these places where they hope to revive her at some point. But I would imagine it's probably like almost like what I'm thinking is almost like an organ transplant situation, where you take the organ out of somebody as quickly after they've died as possible, rather than before they've died, because obviously that would kill them.
Yeah.
So I think you have to do the cryogenic freezing sort of almost at the moment of death.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be.
It would have to be, because otherwise by freezing somebody
Yeah.
before their death, that would kill them, wouldn't it?
No,
Probably.
No, I think the whole idea is you put them into suspended animation, literally. And,
No, I think that is a science fiction thing.
And once you died, your body starts deteriorating anyway, so it would have to be immediately after death. Otherwise, you know what happens when somebody dies. From the moment they die, their body is, what's the word? It's
suspend?
It's wasting away. I mean, it's
it's decomposing.
Decomposing,
But
exactly,
I think the whole point of the freezing process is that it stops that process. It stops the decomposition at the moment of death. So at that moment, everything is still pretty much preserved.
I find it terribly sinister, to be honest.
It's very
I don't
strange.
like it at all.
And I don't really think that it's going to end up causing, I would say, any kind of sort of precedent, legally or otherwise.
Well, I'm
know what I mean?
not sure very many people would sign up to it, to be honest. To
But
me,
she's 14 years old, right?
Yeah.
And she says in her letter, I don't want to die, but I know I'm going to. I think being cryopreserved gives me a chance to be cured and woken up even in hundreds of years' time. I don't want to be buried underground. I want to live and live longer, and I think that in the future they may find a cure for my cancer and wake me up.
Yeah, but you see, hasn't she thought about the fact that even if it by a miracle worked and they could bring her back to life in 100 years' time, she'd then be a freak. She'd be in a circus.
You don't know.
Of course you would.
Well, you don't know, because in 100 years' time or 200 years' time, if it's indeed possible to do, it might be that it becomes commonplace.
In which case, you might have a maximum of 1,000 people on Earth who've come from 100 years before.
Yeah.
So, but they're going to be freaks. They're going to be in separate communities. How would they catch up with all the knowledge that a human being had acquired over the 100 years they've been frozen?
Maybe they would, in the meantime, find ways of imparting knowledge to them while they're frozen.
I mean,
so maybe they would actually be more knowledgeable.
You know, if you ask somebody from, say, 100 years ago to drive a... So ask somebody from 100 years ago, here's a laptop, go on, get on with it, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
Somebody from 100 years ago, I mean, they'd be mystified. I mean,
it'd be like you trying to work.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, realistically and seriously...
Yes. No, I get your point.
Nobody from 100 years ago would have the brain capacity to be able to use a computer.
Well, clearly there are many, many issues around medicine and medical procedures, and also the kind of advance of medicine as well, which are going to be very troubling ethically, I think, over the course of the next few years.
Indeed.
But you have to feel for the girl herself who had cancer and terminal cancer at the age of just 14 and who was going to die.
It's shockingly bad luck.
It is all on. It's all over the front pages this morning.
Yes.
So we shall see what people make of it all. I'm sure it will be debated very hotly all over the place.
Yes.
Fred says this. Surely the next quiz subject should be the life and times of Paul Wilkinson. Whoever he is.
Right, yeah, well, you know, these things happen.
And William says, covering 80 years of TV broadcasting, not a bad effort, Porky.
Thank you.
Dazza says, the Porky Quiz, he just proves he's a certified plank, and that's me thinking aloud.
Yeah, really? Well, don't think aloud, pal, just think.
And John says, Paul Henry used to own my local in Birmingham. UB40 were regulars, saw and heard stuff that would have made the front page.
Who?
Really? Paul Henry, the guy from Crossroads.
Oh, yeah. What, they're saying he's a bit of a nutter or something?
Well, not saying he was a bit of a nutter. He just said UB40 used to come into his pub.
Oh, I see.
And there must have been scenes there that might well have been newsworthy.
I see, yes.
And JPK, was June 1969 an inexplicably compressed month, given that May was separated from July by only 24 days?
Yeah, well, you know.
You got no answer for that.
Well, the point is, you know, the rules are far too rigid on the quiz because I have so much information that often the information I have is better than the answer that you want. And the audience enjoy it more, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, you don't get extra points for that. But I'll tell you what you can finish up with, just to cheer you up.
Right.
Brendan Rodgers won Manager of the Month in Scotland. What do you think he's going to say?
I'm telling you, my team are magnificent, and this award is for me.
This is Talk Sport. We're back tomorrow at 11.
Who are you?
Do you know they're going to shut Joe Allen's?
Hang on, which one?
The one in Covent Garden.
But you see, can I just correct you, please? I'm not being funny here.
No.
It's actually called Joe Allen.
Yeah. So what?
Well, you said they're going to close Joe Allen's.
Yeah, they're going to close Joe Allen's.
Yeah.
Well, it's Joe Allen as a restaurant.
Yes.
But it's Joe Allen's because it's owned as Joe Allen. So it's a you know, what is it? The genitive, isn't it?
It's you put an apostrophe at the end.
Yeah, apostrophe S, Joe Allen's.
They're going to close Joe Allen's. Yeah, well, that would have to be, they're going to close Joe Allen's what? Doors?
They're going to close Joe Allen's.
No, they can't close Joe Allen's.
Yes,
It doesn't exist. They can close Joe Allen.
They're going to close Joe Allen's.
No, it's a mistake a lot of people make. It's called Joe Allen.
It's not a mistake.
Allen.
Don't you care that they're going to close down your favourite restaurant?
Well, I want to know why. Why are they closing it down?
Because Robert De Niro's bought the entire block.